products, backed by real person support and in-depth online resources, so she can tackle every task with precision and turn potential setbacks into streamlined success. Call clickgranger.com or just stop by. Granger, for the ones who get it done.
The Manchester Road Race is back for the 88th running on Thanksgiving morning. This world-class event that attracts Olympians and families alike is one of the greatest sports traditions in Connecticut. You can register now at manchesterroadrace.com, and please keep in mind that net proceeds from the Manchester Road Race go to local charities. So if you run or walk but don't register, the charities lose. Please register today at manchesterroadrace.com.
Ready to go.
See you on Thanksgiving in Manchester.
This is Reese on the Radio, filling in for Todd Feinberg on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Among whites here in America, the political teams are no longer divided into Democrats and Republicans. The whites who are now struggling for control of the American political throne are divided into liberal and conservative camps. The white liberals from both parties cross party lines to work together toward the same goal. And white conservatives from both parties do likewise. The white liberal differs from the white conservative only in one way. The liberal is more deceitful, more hypocritical than the conservative. Both want power, but the white liberal is the one who has perfected the art of posing as the Negro's friend and benefactor. And by winning the friendship and support of the Negro, the white liberal is able to use the Negro as a pawn or a weapon in this political football game that is constantly raging between the white liberals and the white conservatives.
Yeah! When's the last time you heard Malcolm X on the airwaves, huh? What's it been, 64 years? It's Reese on the Radio on News Talk 1080 WTIC on this October the 16th, 2024. Never has a statement been so profound. Did Malcolm X see the future, or did he just recognize the time he was living in? It was always the case. I've got more of that. For the liberals who do tune in, and I know you're here early, that was Malcolm X. Now, all I want you to do, you can say what you want about me and every other conservative out there, in particular, black conservatives, African Americans, people like me. Say what you want. But what have you got to say about Malcolm X? He only said what we've been saying, as far as I'm concerned, for 45 years, for me in particular. Here's some more, just from that speech. Just from that speech. That man says the word Negro more than I do. Listen to him. Malcolm X.
The American Negro is nothing but a political football, and the white liberals control this ball through tricks or tokenism, false promises of integration and civil rights. In this game of deceiving and using the American Negro, the white liberals have complete cooperation of the Negro civil rights leaders who sell our people out for a few crumbs of token recognition, token gains, token progress.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. They know who they are. They sell out the Negro. I want to give you an example. One of my favorite. You know him, Van Jones, CNN. I refer to him as Crying Negro Brother. This is him yesterday after Kamala Harris made a promise to 1 million black men, with free loans. You know, you don't have to pay them back. With free loans, and weed. This is what Van Jones, the man that Malcolm X is talking about here. Sellouts. This is what he said about free loans and weed. Van Jones.
And yet, finally, Kamala Harris sent us a love letter. To you, that might have been a policy document. I read that as a love letter from Kamala Harris to black men who need some love, black men who need some respect, black men who need some concern and some care and consideration. You know, we need some mamala from Kamala, and we got that.
Free loans and weed. Now, let me be 100% upfront. I spent the entire morning saying to myself, Reese, don't do this. Do not go down this racial rabbit hole. Don't do it. The show has been great. We don't have to talk about race. We don't have to talk about your race. We don't have to talk about your conservatism. Just talk about policy, the things that matter. I didn't do this. I couldn't ignore it. I mean, and plus, don't get me wrong. I got plenty of stuff to talk about today. I got human rights stuff to talk about today. You won't believe the audio I've got for you on that front. I got to talk to you about liberalism being a mental illness with Mark Halperin. You'll remember him. You may have seen this on your feed today. We got to talk about that. But this one I couldn't let go. I had to talk about this because everywhere I looked as I'm doing my morning show prep, Malcolm X is everywhere. Being shared with everyone. Saying, see, he told us. See, he told us. Malcolm X even went one step further. I got to play this one because this is the harsh one. This is Malcolm X telling black people, voting for the Democrat Party, you are a traitor to your race. How did this message get lost? Listen.
Put the present Democratic administration in Washington, D.C. The whites were evenly divided. It was the fact that you threw 80% of your votes behind the Democrats that put the Democrats in the White House. Anytime you throw your weight behind a political party that controls 2/3 of the government, and that party can't keep the promise that it made to you during election time, and you are dumb enough to walk around continuing to identify yourself with that party, you're not only a chump, but you're a traitor to your race.
You are not only a chump, you are a traitor to your race. This was everywhere I looked, unsolicited. This was everywhere. And then I got this one in my feed, because I don't want to live in the 60s. I don't want to live in the past. I just want to show you that Malcolm X, a man who I respect gratefully, I wasn't a radical like him. I would say I was a Malcolm X supporter with the Dr. Martin Luther King attitude. I didn't believe in turning the other cheek, but I do believe in peace through strength. I do believe that we can peacefully and civilly be disobedient. Malcolm X, on the other hand, said, you slap me, I'll smack you back. I kind of agree with that. I just don't think you should just run around slapping people. But then I heard this from none other than the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santeria Turner. This was a woman who was I think she was a political leader in Ohio. We played her here before. But listen to what she says about the party that she represents, the Democrat Party. Listen to her. It's going to sound familiar to you.
For me, the Democratic Party emasculates black men, and I think Hispanic men probably feel the same way. And I say this because they weaponize identity. When and where we enter, who we are, how we identify is important to who we are, just like our fingerprints. But if you're not going to use my identity to advance a social justice cause, and you're just going to use my identity as a blunt force object,
cudgel.
Now I got a problem. So what the Democratic Party does, they put black women on a pedestal and they say, we're the mothers of the movement, or we saved the party.
Doesn't that sound familiar? Democrats put black women on a pedestal. Who was it just recently who said exactly that? Barack Hussein Obama, in his speech to black men. The little private get-together he had. We're not going to support a woman who has raised us up, been out there protesting when we get in trouble. Nina Turner's talking about Barack Obama.
But yet you don't put forth policies that save black babies. You don't put forth policies that deal with the maternal death rate of black women and black babies in the United States of America.
Abortion. In fact, they push it wholeheartedly. Didn't we have, what was it, Yellen? Didn't we have Yellen on national television saying that if removing Roe v. Wade would affect black women more than anyone else? That if a woman couldn't abort her child, that she would end up in poverty? We must allow black people to abort their babies. They was pushing for it. Again, here's a black woman saying the Democrat Party pushes killing their babies.
You don't do those things that lift and edify. Yes, identity is important. Both parties use it differently. But Democrats use it in a way that alienates other folks, and it offends me. So when I talk to black men across this country, they don't see themselves in this party. It's one thing to recognize the power and prowess of black women and the sacrifices that we make. It is another thing to put us above black men. The black struggle, black men and black women have to be together. We don't have the luxury to be separated. And so I resent the Democratic Party for doing that. And so black men do not see themselves in the party. That bravado, because we got a kind of masculine energy.
Who's going to protect those black women?
Masculine energy is not all bad. But the type of bravado that Trump puts forward is still very much rooted in a hierarchical patriarchy. Mm-hmm.
Now, I want to address this just briefly. Right? Now, one of the things that the slave master used to do to emasculate and control his black slave, the man, what did he do? Oh, it's unsavory to say, but you know it. You know it. He abused that black woman. Ask any civil rights leader walking the earth today. Ask any Black Lives Matter protester walking today. Ask any power to the people individual listening to my voice today. They will tell you, what did the slave master do to the black slave male in order to get him under control? He abused that black woman. He assaulted that black woman. That's how they got them under control. And sometimes it wasn't even for control. Sometimes it was just malice. So here you are, condemning, putting down, ridiculing, dismissing the black male. But you can't do what you used to do before to the black woman, so now you've decided to go another route. You edify her.
And a lot of men gravitate to.
A lot of men gravitate towards Donald Trump for that reason. I just wanted to bring it up. I just wanted to make sure that I addressed all of it. All of these things are important because it is where we are right now. It's the reason why Democrats are, they scrambling. They're doing everything under the sun. Wait, the black men, they need stuff. They want us to give them things. What do? You sure there are no police officers out there that are taking their civil rights? We don't have a Derek Chauvin or a Darren Wilson to push in their faces? Do we have anybody we can protest about? What are we going to do to distract them? They're running around like a chicken with their heads cut off. They're rebelling. It's Amistad all over again. What do? How do we get them under control? They're going to vote for the bad guy. They're going to vote for the monster. Oh, baby, I'm sorry. I'm being serious, but at the same time, I got to throw a little in there. I don't want to stomp on them behind this. This is not the type of thing that I do. I don't kick people when they're down. Well, unless they're pure evil. So in this case, yes, I'm kicking them. It couldn't happen to a better group of people. It couldn't. I'm loving every bit of it. And again, if you've noticed, I have not said, with the exception of right now, I have not said to African Americans, I told you so. Because this wasn't something I was trying to win over them. I wasn't trying to have dominion over black men. I am happy that they have seen the light. It is like finding out your brother, his cancer is in remission. That's what this is like. This is like finding out that the disease that was plaguing your family member, your brother, your sister, whomever it was, that they are cancer-free right now. I am celebrating with them. I want to take them out for a non-alcoholic beverage. I don't drink, so. I want to take them out for a steak. Hey, buddy, how you doing? Yeah, it was dark in there, wasn't it? It was really, really dark. That's okay. Come on, we've got you. I know there's a lot of people out there who feel it. Michael B. and Michael A. are two of my faithful supporters here on Reese on the Radio and, of course, on the Rundown. And they were, when Donald Trump said he was going to the Bronx, I never seen two guys more excited about Donald Trump doing that. And wanting him to go to Madison Square Garden, these two guys were excited about that. And Michael B. was one of the biggest, skeptics about the turnaround within the African-American community. I hope it's real. I hope it's real. I don't want to get ahead of my skis. He didn't want to. And my favorite part yesterday was that guy who was on TikTok who said that what he loved about it the most was that it was organic. There were no Zoom calls. It wasn't a bunch of people getting together and fabricating a movement. It was just a wake-up call. You couldn't be happier to watch it happen. And it isn't done, no one's happy about it in a bitter way. There's no, nanny hoo-hoo to the Democrats. It's like, oh, finally. All right, let's get this back on the road. Let's get this popping. Let's get it going. There's that sense, that energy that says, let's go get this done. It's like getting the team together. And you're going into that fourth quarter. And your favorite players or your toughest players are getting off the injured reserves. And they're in the starting lineup. You're just raring to go. I think that's how a lot of us feel. Michael B's in the chat room now. He says, yeah, you can see it somewhat in Connecticut now. You sure can. It's, I'm not reading that one. That was just mean. That was just mean, Michael B. You're cruel as they could get. Sometimes I love them, but Michael B and Michael A, I love them, but they will definitely get me off my game. They are troublemakers. They're the friends that will get you. They won't get you locked up, but you get a stern talking to from the police. That's how bad they are. God love them, though. All right, when we come back, your phone calls, if you wish, 860-522-WTIC on this subject, 860-522-9842. But probably the bigger story is Mark Halperin on Tucker Carlson's show. And look, I don't know Mark Halperin in this way, but what he said about liberals to Tucker Carlson should be embarrassing if you are a liberal. You should be outraged at what he says. But if you're not, then he's on to something. That's the scary part. If you haven't heard it, stick around. We'll play it in a little bit when we return. All right, your phone calls, Mark Halperin, much, much more on this Wednesday edition of Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
We hear a lot from our patients after we've successfully treated their erectile dysfunction, but one thing we hear the most is, why didn't I get treated sooner? This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health, and if you're suffering with ED and all the emotional and relationship problems it causes, don't wait. Call us today. ED is simply a medical condition like any other, and for most men, it's fully treatable, which means you can get your sex life back. And I'm not talking about sex that's just okay, by the way. I'm talking great
Rama,
sex,
you would
with the
be
ability
thinking
to enjoy
Avengers.
intimacy without the anxiety that affects so many men who have ED. In fact, you might even find you're performing like you haven't in years. In Northeast Men's Health, we're ED experts. We've treated thousands of men with protocols that are successful in well over 90% of cases. And we have a variety of treatments and treatment combinations so you get the one that's right for you. So stop waiting and call us. Your first visit includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956. That's 800-930-5956. Or go to northeastmenshealth.com.
There's a lot happening in Washington and in your local neighborhood. Follow WTIC News Talk 1080 on the Odyssey app to keep up with the latest.
You love your city, but let's be honest, the commute, not so much. That's where the free Odyssey app can help. Download the app and follow your local news station so you can get the latest traffic reports or find if your train is on time before you walk out your door. Knowing all this gives you time to think about the essential things like, do I have time to get coffee? Download the free Odyssey app and search your local news station. That's AUDACY.
Listen, you don't have to keep living with joint pain. You can get real, lasting relief with QC Kinetics. People are getting their lives back, getting their mobility back, all thanks to QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in cellular therapies that can revitalize your joints. We're talking about advanced regenerative medicine using your own body's healing properties, highly concentrated and carefully placed in those achy joints. Back pain, shoulder pain, knee pain, cutting-edge treatments that have no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime with QC Kinetics. And it's quick in-office procedure, get you moving again. Listen. Is arthritic joint pain keeping you from doing the things you love? Pain in your knees, hips, back, or shoulder? You owe it to yourself to learn a little more. Make an informed decision before you do something like surgery. Call QC Kinetics today for a free consultation. They're in Avon, New Haven, and Glastonbury. 860-440-PAIN. That's 860-440-PAIN. Again, QC Kinetics, Avon, New Haven, and Glastonbury. That number, 860-440-PAIN.
And now, a WTIC news update.
It's 3:30. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva. WTIC 1080 News. A Hartford City Councilor is facing charges. He embezzled money from a local church. 27-year-old Alexander Thomas allegedly misused a church credit card where he worked. He faces charges of money laundering and larceny. Child is dead. The investigation continuing. A fatal house fire Tuesday in Norwich. Call came in around 5:30. The home on Summit Street. 7-year-old was trapped inside. Her mother and 2 siblings got out. The mother is being treated for smoke inhalation. A New Hampshire man faces charges after he was reported driving recklessly and attempting to elude state police on an area highway. 21-year-old Robert Bean of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, charged. Troopers say they'd received a number of calls Tuesday night of a vehicle driving erratically. They spotted the silver Mazda on 84 towards 691. Bean, they say, attempted to elude officers. He hit a few traffic cones along the way and is now in jail on a $100,000 bond. State officials announcing today the beginning of early voting in Connecticut. That is Monday, October 21st, and for 14 days ahead of the general election. Early voting will run through November 3rd. Presidential candidates, meantime, back on the campaign trail. Vice President Harris being joined by moderate Republicans in Pennsylvania. Former President Trump held a town hall with an all-female audience on Tuesday. Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky has told lawmakers that his country's Western partners are increasing pressure to negotiate with Russia, but he hinted such talks would be favorable to Kyiv as he unveiled what he called his victory plan for the war. WTIC News time is 3:32. Here's Jason Caterina with the forecast.
Well, the rest of the afternoon, a blend of sun and clouds, a cool day with a high of 58, then clear skies and cold temps tonight. Can be frost in the normally colder spots, the low down to 35. Sunshine and a little milder for us as we head into Thursday, the high of 62. Beautiful day Friday to round out the week. Plenty of sunshine again as high pressure builds over the region with the high of 66. Saturday, warmer with plenty of sun, the high 72. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
And the markets remain in positive territory. Half hour before the close, the Dow's up 321 points. The Nasdaq's ahead 46, and the S&P is up 25 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
The law firm of Brown, Payne, Dearest & Scott understands that divorce can be intimidating, and the decisions you make today will impact your life forever. Divorce is complicated. There's a lot at stake when considering your future. At Brown, Payne, Dearest & Scott, our team of family attorneys have over 100 years of combined experience and understand every family law case is different. At BPS Lawyers, you get more than a lawyer, you get a law firm. Call us at 860-CALL-BPS. or visit bpslawyers.com. Katie Bissonette is responsible for the content of this ad.
Get ready for an unforgettable musical experience with the Hartford Symphony Orchestra. Join us October 18th through the 20th as Leonid Segal celebrates 20
Jason,
years
I'm reading
as
that one.
concertmaster.
That's good.
Lenny will not only conduct the orchestra, but both play and conduct the famous Beethoven Violin Concerto. Plus, enjoy Carlos Simon's Fate Now Conquers and Bizet's vibrant Symphony No. 1. Don't miss this unique event at the Bushnell. Tickets start as low as $10 for students. For tickets, call 860-987-5900 or visit hartfordsymphony.org.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out heart-stopping letters, aggressively garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it seem impossible to ever get out of debt. Don't let the tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, the #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in the Fresh Start Initiative, one of the biggest breaks that the IRS has ever offered. If you qualify, you could save thousands. Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, they'll fight to get you the best deal possible. Call Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Tax relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hi, I'm Joe with SimpleSaleUSA.com, and I buy houses cash. If you own a house and want to sell it fast at a fair price, call me at 203-896-4000. I can pay cash and close in as little as 7 days. I buy houses in any condition, any price range, and more importantly, anywhere in Connecticut. I'm a private real estate investor who buys several houses a month, and I want to buy more. I buy inherited houses, divorce houses, behind in payment houses. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. Do you own a house that is trash and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, because I love buying junk houses. I buy vacant houses, abandoned houses, condemned houses, and even foreclosure houses. If you own a house and want to sell it fast, call me at 203-896-4000. That's 203-896-4000. 203-896-4000.
One of the most memorable features of the Bob Steele Show was the word for the day. Bob educated and entertained listeners daily. Each day, he would choose a word that was frequently mispronounced or misused. He provided word meanings and fixed common spelling errors. Bob explained that his interest grew out of a directive to lose the Midwestern accent. In the days that followed, he became very interested in correct pronunciation and usage and never lost that interest. He even went so far to say he may have owed his entire career to it.
Our words this week, do you say repercussion or repercussion? Say repercussion, you'll be right. Nuptial, N-U-P-T-I-A-L, the nuptial ceremony, the wedding ceremony. Don't say nuptial. Nuptial is correct.
Later in life, he established the Bob Steele Literacy Volunteers Reading Center in Hartford.
When you're hiring for your business, ZipRecruiter's technology makes finding qualified candidates for your job easy. This made us wonder, what if the rest of the world was as easy as ZipRecruiter? Math problems wouldn't be so problematic.
K equals 42.
Escape rooms? Elementary. And summiting Everest would be a walk in the park. In the meantime, if you want to make your hiring easier, use ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Simple. So, see what the world is like when ZipRecruiter does the hard work of hiring for you.
And 10.
ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free.
And all you have is George.
ZipRecruiter.com.
Put him on hold. I gotta get to a couple of things. I'll put him on last.
ZipRecruiter.com/free.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is. You know who it is. It's Reese on the Radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
And we are back. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. Coming up on the stupidest thing that I read today. You're going to love today's. It's funny. And some of you might even want to take part in it if you like cats. I'll break it down to you after the 4 o'clock hour. I want to read what Jason D. wrote in the chat room. And again, if you want to join the chat room, you can go to reasonoradio.com. You can join us on Rumble or just go to any one of our Facebook pages, as well as the Twitter or X. You can join us there and you can chat in the chat room because I love reading the comments there because some people have a lot to say. Jason D. wrote this. He says, "Hear me out. I had a thought today. I feel social media is becoming the death of the Democrat Party. People can share info faster and easier. The word of the party's shady dealings get to the people faster. The truth comes out and they hate it." Now, Jason, you're not just onto something. That you actually are being sort of fed that idea in the way in which people are responding to platforms like X and even Facebook in many ways. You just had recently Hillary Clinton in an interview talking about how they need to regulate social media. Kamala Harris, our presidential candidate, says it as well. That they need to control the information with the constant theme of mis and disinformation being, that's the theme of all of these news work, the constant fact-checking that you get from news outlets, which isn't their business, even though we know they get it wrong. By the way, did you hear this thing with ABC's David Muir, with him fact-checking Donald Trump on the FBI statistics, and then today it's released that the FBI missed some 1,600 murders, or 1,600 murders that they didn't report? That's interesting. So you're 100% right. That's the reason why they wish to control social media, is because no one is relying on the pre-prescribed media outlets, ABC, NBC, and CBS. I know I've said this story over and over again, folks, but I'm going back to it only because it illustrates what Jason is talking about here. It began with one blogger and a 60 Minutes 2 episode questioning the military service of one George Walker Bush. You guys all remember that in 2004. Dan Rather thought that he had George Bush dead to rights. It was in the middle of the Iraq War, questioning George W. Bush's military record, and they got this piece of paper that suggested it was proof against George W. Bush, and they went to air with it. And a blogger, a guy on the internet, did a little bit of sleuthing, and when I say sleuthing, it was simple. He just looked up that the font that the letter was in didn't exist until after 1971. He did the work that the news organization was supposed to do. They were supposed to, and again, all they had to do was to fact check the information they had before they went to air. That means leave no stone unturned, uncovered, right? And they didn't. And they got caught flat-footed, and they were embarrassed. And what happened afterwards? Dan Rather ends up getting fired from the network, and he's been holding a grudge ever since. But before he was fired, what did the other two networks do? NBC and CBS. And ABC. What did they do? They created a fake journalism award, and Peter Jennings and Tom Brokaw presented Dan Rather with said award to salvage his credibility. Now, why would they do that? They compete with one another. And I understand that there's a journalistic camaraderie in the news business. We're just competitors, but we're all pals. But were they celebrating a guy who got the story wrong? What were they celebrating? What was Dan Rather doing? Was he committing journalistic malpractice? Of course he was. And the fact that he fought tooth and nail after he had been busted and then tried to sue the company that had to fire him, which was thrown out. But he wouldn't sue him. And what was he suing him for? What he did was demonstrably wrong. Ethically was wrong. He didn't do his due diligence. They even tried to, didn't they make a film with Robert Redford and Jessica Chastain, I think it was? Robert Redford playing Dan Rather? Wow. How lucky do you have to be? But to put a bow on all of this, what was the Robert Redford Dan Rather movie called? Oh, folks, if you don't know, it was called Truth. The audacity of these people. Truth. Yeah, Lori says, that's hilarious. You're damn right, it's hilarious. And what was the argument that they made? It was like, we're not trying to suggest that what Dan Rather did was right. We're just giving a different perspective. Yeah, on the facts. A different perspectives on the facts. Remember the big fluff with Kellyanne Conway about alternative facts? They were the originators of that idea. So, yeah, you're 100% right, Jason. They're afraid of this because now information is free. It's not controlled. It was more, and think about it, before social media, the media was more like 1984 than ever before because, again, they were only the big three networks, and they all repeated the same thing. I remember going to each one of those networks growing up. The reason why I know all three of these anchors during my prime of watching the news, Dan Rather, Tom Brokaw, and Peter Jennings, because those guys were giants in my era. And they all, if you watched any one of them, they all did the same news. The stories were all the same. Didn't Jimmy Kimmel used to have this bit on his show when it was, worth watching? He used to have a bit where he used to play all of the networks across the country reading a national story, reading the exact same words. And the objective here was not only because it was funny, but he was saying that you're only listening to regurgitated notes. They're all reading the press statement word for word. There's no objective journalism here. It's just read from the teleprompter. We put it in front, you read it out loud. And everybody else just sucks it up like a mind-numb robot. But I heard in the news. No questioning of it. Well, it had to have happened. The news reported it. So want to bet she crashes and burns on Fox News. I know you're late to the Keith. I'll get to that in a second. I've already set that up for yesterday, but I will tell you, yes, this is going to be the death knell of her of her campaign tonight. Otherwise, it's going to be the death knell of Brett Baer's. Somebody's got. I say this. I'm not. Somebody's career's got to die tonight. Okay, let me just put it to you like that. Someone's career has got to die tonight. And Brett Baer, if he's worth his journalistic salt, it ain't going to be him. Brett may be gone. I don't think so. I don't think he's going to. I don't think he's going to put his reputation on somebody who had a 23% approval rating as a vice president. I don't think he's going to do it. But yeah, this is just one of those things that I just find fascinating. But that's a great question, Jason. I really do appreciate it because I think you're right about that. I think now that anybody can get their news from anywhere, the Democrat Party they can't hide. They cannot hide. Let's get George in George on the line. What's going on, George?
Hi, Reese. Jason's close to what's going on, but what is going on, you're being taken over by communists.
Mm-hmm.
The Democrat Party is communist. That's part of the procedure, and there's a procedure to this, is taking over the hearts and minds through social media and state-controlled media.
Yeah.
You experienced that Monday. A second point, they wipe out your history.
That's right.
Remember Kamala wanted to have Indigenous Persons Day over Columbus Day?
Mm-hmm.
They wipe out your history. That's another procedure that they follow. The big thing, and you've experienced this over 3.5 years, destroy your elections.
Mm-hmm.
The party, the Democrat Communist Party, and don't always follow that with Democrat Communist Party. When they destroy elections, they brought in all of the tens of millions of illegals.
Mm-hmm.
The Democrat Party, is so bad they can't be elected to office locally, domestically anymore. They had to bring in foreigners to vote for the Democrat Party. Let me end this. The question should be not whether you vote for Kamala or Wolves, but how many years in prison they should serve for the damages that they've done for the last 3 years.
You know what? For political decorum reasons, I don't think we're ever going to see our political enemies or our political adversaries, for that matter. When I say enemies, you know who I'm talking about. But our political adversaries, I don't think we're ever going to see a time where anyone's going to put them in prison. However, I do believe, and I think Donald Trump has made this clear, and everybody lost their crap about it, was when he said if you are caught aiding and abetting in treasonous behavior like trying to rig this election or any election, therefore, you are going to be in prison for it. The crazy part about it is that people said it was like, see, he's going after his political enemies, omitting the part.
Reese, look this up. When anyone enters political office, they have to take an oath.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
To protect and defend us from all domestic and foreign
That is correct.
enemies.
I know, but
And
like I said,
the Democrat Party has not done that.
and they have no
haven't
interest,
done
and they
that.
have no interest in that. And you're right, we should hold them accountable to that. I 100% agree with you. Thank you, George. I got to get to a break. We have got literally 7 seconds, but I appreciate the call. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, Mark actually just jumped in. I didn't get to see his. No, I'll actually read that. That looks like a good question, but I want to read it in context when we get back. All right, stay on the line. We'll be back. More news, more views. When we return, it's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC.
Join us this Sunday for Tumulo Financial, your go-to for retirement planning and taxes. Tune in to the father and son duo from 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. or catch the replay from 5 to 6 p.m. Tumulo Financial Retirement Planning with Integrity on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck.
Oh, I see
McDowell,
what you
the
said, Mark. Yeah,
timeshare
it's a good point.
cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free information kit. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090.
Yip, 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 yip. This here is Bowser, inviting you to join me at the Mohegan Sun Arena for Bowser's Rockin' Doo-Wop Party, Volume 23, the final chapter. On Sunday, January 19th, you'll see some of the greatest acts in music history, including Chubby Checker and the Wildcats. Gary U.S. Mark, Casey Miss Hogan, Peggy Mark, The Dog, Lala Brooks, originally singer of the Crystals. New York City 9/11 firefighter Frank Pizarro singing the music of the Platters. My shot and our pal Johnny Catardo with me and my group Bowser and the Stingrays and our band Rocky and the Rollers. All of it hosted by me. And it's my final public show. Tickets go on sale Friday at 10 a.m. at Ticketmaster.com. For more information, visit MoheganSun.com. Be there or be square, and greets 14.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day.
Hey, when did they say Bowser was going to be in Mohegan Sun?
Like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com,
Who?
you can get world-class
The commercial.
sexual
I'll
health
wait
care
until
and
it
a
airs
full
again.
range of
I
treatment
wasn't listening.
through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy for your free online visit.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
1 minute.
Dowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your time.
10.
You'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. Call 800-290-7100. That's 800-290-7100. 800-290-7100.
You're listening to Reese on the Radio, filling in today for Todd Feinberg on WTIC News Talk 1080. Stay locked in. Reese on the Radio is on WTIC News Talk 1080.
I want to get to some more comments in the chat room right now. It's Jennifer Breen. She says, Reese, it's so extraordinary. What's so extraordinary is that they don't want to hide at this point. They tell us their moves, whether it's their predictive programming, interviews, or straight-up statements. Pelosi said, I decided long ago Trump will never step foot in the White House again. And Jerry Raskin giving an interview saying we may not certify the election if Trump wins. That's true. But remember, why are they telling us their playbook? Because they have a protective media who are in cahoots with them. So they don't even push back on a comment like that on Jamie Raskin. Jamie Raskin says we may not even certify the election. At the same time, that same reporter will ask J.D. Vance, would you have certified the election of 2020? So they'll do that right as it's happening, right? Well, in essence, the double standard. Courtney Ann, you guys know Courtney Ann from Real and Raw. She used to do my Sunday show. In fact, we're going to get her back on very soon. Courtney Ann says, who is they? And I know why she's asking this question. And it's really, really, for me, it's always bizarre when people ask that question. It's like, well, who is they? Okay, well, they is the Democrat Party. Well, what does that mean? Let me explain. It's real simple. The Democrat Party has talking points, as do conservatives. Every party has talking points. Some people and their talking points cannot veer off that party's talking points or else be shunned. So if you don't agree, you will be ostracized. John Fetterman is pro-Israel. That is anti-Democrat Party. So when he comes out and he says, I don't understand how people can be so anti-Israel and anti-Semitic, when he is talking about his own party, they will shout him down. Why? Because they are the party of anti-Semitism. They just are. So they, as a collective, that's how they work. They, as a collective, must follow the rules, even if they know it's it's illogical to follow that thing. They know better than to push back on the party platform. Now, we as conservatives, we have some people who are, look at Melania and Donald Trump. Melania says that no woman's right to an abortion should be taken away, while Donald Trump is a pro-life president. Does he say she's no longer allowed to be a Republican? He goes, look, of course she's a human being. She has a right to her own opinion. So when we say they, we're talking about the collective mind numbness of the Democrat Party. But we'll get into that in the next hour because of the Mark Halperin audio from Tucker Carlson's show. Now let's get into the BPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher and a first look at the traffic. Hey, Mark, welcome back.
Hey, good afternoon, Reese. Good afternoon, everyone. If you are heading on the southbound side of I-91, look for delays now as you move East Windsor into Windsor between exit 44 and 42. The left and left center lanes blocked there, stay to the right. Then once you get down into Hartford, slowing again, 33 down to 32 A and B, and a minor slowdown as you approach 19 in Meriden. Northbound 91 looking real good. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. You are seeing the delays, though, as you approach exit 40. The Bradley Connector in Windsor locks up to the Dexter Coffin Bridge with road work on the right and right center. Stay left there. Westbound 84 is tied up in East Hartford.
Michael A., you're going to have to bring a lot of bill money.
Into the tunnel. 84 eastbound delays 46 Sisson Avenue into the tunnel. 291 through 84, that looks good east of the river. 2 westbound's a little slow. Exit 4 to the 84 west merge in East Hartford. 9 northbound delays Harbor Park to the Aragoni Bridge. 84 westbound, you're going to lose some speed now from 26 up to 22 in Waterbury. 84 eastbound a little slow by 18. 84 eastbound Danbury tight 3 to 5. 84 eastbound again is slowing from 10 to 11 in Newtown. 95 South New Haven slowing from 46 to 44. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
Brought to you by Ulta Beauty.
We've brought the Emerald City to Ulta Beauty with wicked collaborations from REM Beauty by Ariana Grande. It brushes for Ulta and OPI. Hurry in, these fantabulous products won't last long. See Wicked November 22nd, only in theaters. Ulta Beauty, the possibilities are beautiful.
WTIC weather.
Well, the rest of the afternoon, a blend of sun and clouds, a cool day with a high of 58, then clear skies and cold temps tonight. Can be frost in the normally colder spots, the low down to 35. Sunshine and a little milder for us as we head into Thursday, the high of 62. Beautiful day Friday to round out the week. Plenty of sunshine again as high pressure builds over the region with the high of 66. Saturday, warmer with plenty of sun, the high 72. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
WTIC is 99 and throwing a year-long celebration to 100 years on the air. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
4 o'clock good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. No let up in the campaigns for the presidential candidates. Less than 3 weeks until Election Day. Here's correspondent Cammie McCormick.
On the campaign trail, Donald Trump is appealing to female voters at a Fox town hall.
I'm the father of IVF, so I want to hear this question.
Kamala Harris was asked by reporters if Trump should undergo a cognitive test. He would be the oldest person elected president, but has refused to disclose his medical details.
Based on my observations, and I think the observations of many, Donald Trump is increasingly unstable.
The candidates are zeroing in on Latino voters. Correspondent Christian Benavides is in Florida.
Why are they such an important voting bloc for both sides? Well, in the past few elections, we've seen that the Latino vote, the Latino electorate, has sort of been shifting away from the Democrats, and particularly here in South Florida, we've seen it skyrocket for the Republicans.
Harris is in Pennsylvania with Republicans who are backing her campaign. A Hartford city councilor is facing charges. He embezzled funds from a church where he worked. 27-year-old Alexander Thomas facing charges. According to Hartford police, the thefts occurred for a year between April of 2023 and April of this year. Thomas is alleged to have misused a church credit card to divert funds to a shell company, then transferred those funds to personal accounts. He turned himself in on Tuesday, faces charges of money laundering and larceny, bond set at $250,000. State leaders are spreading the word that early voting ahead of the general election begins next Monday. This is Secretary of the State, Stephanie Thomas.
Early voting provides voters with an additional 14 days to cast their ballot prior to the election, beginning Monday, October 21st through Sunday, November 3rd. So yes, that includes 2 full weekends, 2 Saturdays and 2 Sundays to cast your vote.
Early voting runs through November 3rd. A child is dead. The investigation's continuing into a fatal house fire Tuesday in Norwich. Call came in around 5:30. The home on Summit Street. 7-year-old was trapped inside. Amanda Odavi lives nearby and describes what she saw.
So I ran downstairs. I called 911. The mom was in the middle of the street screaming that the little girl was still inside.
Audio from WFSB. The child's mother and 2 siblings got out, the mother being treated for smoke inhalation. The Norwich Acting Schools superintendent says grief counselors were available today to offer support to those who needed it. State and federal guidance has suggested banning cell phone use from the classroom. Now, New Haven public schools are acting on that. They'll go all cell phone free by next fall. It's been a pilot program at the Barnard Magnet School, students locking their phones in special pouches at the beginning of the day. Students and teachers like Dan Croteau say it's working.
Our scores are up, our kids' grades are up, and generally they're happy with their academics, and there's just a high level of engagement when people come in the room.
He says they've even seen a reduction in fights related to cyberbullying. All New Haven K through 8 students will adopt the cell phone ban in January. High schools will join in next fall. There was a memorial service for Ethel Kennedy today in Washington. More from correspondent Stacy Lynn.
The service was filled with music from Sting
Blood will flow.
and Kenny Chesney,
You are my sunshine.
and stories and memories of Ethel, the widow of Robert F. Kennedy.
My grandmother's life was a life fully lived.
Her grandson, Joe Kennedy III.
She saw every moment as an opportunity to learn, to love, to compete, and to battle for what is right.
Stacy Lynn, CBS News, Washington.
Closing bell report sponsored by Bouvier Insurance. Dow up 337 points. NASDAQ up 51. S&P up 27 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Do you know a veteran?
Hold on a minute.
After leaving the military, many veterans struggle to find their way home. Because to a veteran, home isn't just a place, it's an idea, a feeling. Nation's Finest understands the challenges veterans face. Through the VA's Supportive Services for Veteran Families program, we help veterans and their families struggling with rent, employment, and other housing-related costs. Today, Nation's Finest operates more than 30 locations in California, Arizona, and Nevada. For more than 50 years, we've helped thousands of veterans in these communities build happy, healthy, and purposeful lives. And our team is committed to supporting those who've served and their families for another 50. To get help, visit nationsfinest.org or call 1-833-468-9676. That's 1-833-468-9676.
You're listening to Reese on the Radio, filling in today for Todd Feinberg on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We are back. It's Reese on the Radio, of course, as the big voice says. We've got the stupidest thing that I read today. And you got to go to reasoontheradio.com to read it. That's just to get you over there to the site to check it out. Are you a cat person or a dog person? Some of you are probably both. I know a lot of people who have both pets. When I was a kid, I never understood that. Like, I would go to a friend's house and they have a cat and a dog. I was like, wow, how the hell do they get along? Because, again, I grew up under the Tom and Jerry era. Like, cats and dogs don't get along. That's anarchy. But people had them all the time. So I was always a dog person because I grew up with dogs. And then I got this one cat, and I fell in love with her, and Hennessy was her name. She was smoke gray, and she had green eyes, and she was beautiful. I never got another cat after she passed away. But I love that cat, and I'm crazy about my cat. I wouldn't call myself a crazy cat person, although I know some people who are. I'm not saying any names, Amy in Philly, but she's got a lot of cats. At least she's getting married, though. But I saw something that is going to blow your mind. If you like cats and you like karaoke, then karaoke is something that you are going to be absolutely fascinated with. But you got to go to ReeseOnRadio.com to actually see the story and the video. Karaoke. Apparently, it's something that is growing, and it's a contest, and people are doing it all over the place. It's like karaoke, but it involves cats. Trust me, not actual physical cats, but something else that you have to see it, and I know you're probably going to read it and go, what in God's name? We may talk about it tomorrow. I may even play the video tomorrow. But, yeah, it's something that's growing, and I think people are really, really good. They have too much time on their hands, or they are bored to tears. They are bored to tears. But you got to check it out. Go to ReeseOnRadio.com. Look up the stupidest thing that I read today. Karaoke. Mark Christopher's in the BPS Traffic Center. Mark, if you had to think what karaoke is, what do you think it is? If you haven't heard of it. Ladies and gentlemen, Mark Christopher is close. He is extremely close. He may be the karaoke champion.
Singing for your food, baby.
Yeah, did you hear the story? Have you heard the story before?
No, I have not.
Oh, you are telling me. Talk about being over the target. You are right over the target.
All right.
You got to check out the story on ReeseOnRadio.com. There you go, Mark.
Right.
Mark, I'm out.
I will do that. Thank you, Reese. Thank you very much. If you're heading into Hartford right now and you're on the southbound side of I-91, you're going to see some slow traffic in Hartford, 33 down to 32 IMB. After that, a good ride down into Cromwell. Northbound 91, no issues. Cromwell through downtown. A little slow now as you move up into Windsor Locks, approaching 40 up to the Dexter Coffin Bridge. We've got some road work in the right and right center lanes there. Stay left. If you're traveling westbound 84, you're running slow now, approaching the Bulky Bridge into the tunnel. 84 eastbound is tied up from about a half mile before 46 Sisson Avenue into the tunnel. 291 through 84 moving well east of the river. 2 eastbound's okay, Glastonbury to Marlboro. 9 northbound slowing Harbor Park to the Aragoni Bridge. 84 eastbound Waterbury's tight by 18. Westbound 84 sluggish from 26 in Cheshire up to the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound in Danbury tight 3 to 5. Again, 84 eastbound slowing in Newtown 10 to 11. South 95 New Haven is running slow 46 down to 44. Traffic and weather together on the 8s WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Well, with clear skies tonight, it is going to be cold, and there could be frost in the normally colder spots. The low down to 35. Sunny, still cool on our Thursday, but the high up to 62, and then a nice warming trend right into the weekend. Friday, we'll be looking at plenty of sunshine to round out the work and school week with the high of 66. Then Saturday, warmer still with plenty of sunshine. Great weather for fall foliage viewing, the high up to 72. Another gorgeous day Sunday with plenty of sun, the high up to 74. Even warmer Monday, still nice and sunny, the high 78. And mostly sunny on Tuesday, still warm, the high 76. Right now, cool 61 in Bridgeport, 57 in New London, 57 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
If you're experiencing low energy, brain fog, or bloating, then your body might need a detox. Active Liver from New Nordic makes it easy to detox your body all year long without major changes to your diet or lifestyle. Active Liver is available in stores at CVS or online at Amazon.
This is the story of the one. As a facility technician installing a new welding station, he knows getting the ventilation right is critical for safety. That's why when questions arise, there's Grainger. Grainger offers detailed technical product information online at his fingertips, so it's easy to find what he needs. Because when it comes to safety, having answers means he and his people can breathe a little easier. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This Sunday, the Patriots go across the pond to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars in London. Can Drake May and the Pats get a win against Trevor Lawrence and the rest of the AFC South Jags?
There's a long ball down the right side. There's a separation. And a touchdown pass. Takes John Moody on a perfect dime from Drake May.
Get the coffee ready. It's football Sunday morning. Patriots Jaguars from London will join kickoff at 9:30 a.m. on your home for New England Patriots football. WTIC News Talk 1080.
Diabetes, high blood pressure,
One minute.
Everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-511-3535. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-511-3535. 800-511-3535 or biglou.com.
It's Reese on the radio. And don't say we didn't warn you on News Talk 1080 WTIC.
We are back. Reese on the radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. As Uncle Rush would say, having more fun than a human should be allowed. I'm having a lot of fun today. Anyway, Courtney Ann is in the chat room. She was understanding. I'm just trying to understand what everybody means when they name who is responsible as the Democrat Party. Okay, so the Democrat platform and its leadership and anyone who would therefore support said initiative and or platform is who we're talking about. And that is the powers that be. So in essence, there is a collective, believe it or not. How do I know this? Because the Democrat Party operates as a collective. They see everyone in groups. They just do. They see everyone in groups. They address everything as black people, Hispanics, or Latinx, or whatever the case may be. You notice how everyone in the news media uses the term undocumented instead of illegal. And if you are on that network and you say illegal immigrants, they say, you mean undocumented? And my response to that is, no, I mean illegals. What you're doing is something far different, right? When people are calling them undocumented, they're being conformed. No, who doesn't? We don't. Average people in America do not see people or deal with people in groups. They deal with them as individuals. Now, again, that you're doing exactly what we're talking about when you say who doesn't do that. You're under the impression that no one doesn't do that, right? What, did I just do a double negative? Yeah, that no one does the opposite of that. No, everyone. As far as I'm concerned, a lot of people that we know don't see people as that. Okay, you could call it lies. I guess it is lies because, I mean, you don't believe it. I mean, that's all we need is for you not to believe it to mean it's a lie. See how that works? You don't believe it, so it's a lie. Okay, so then there's no argument, right? Because you, in essence, get to be the arbiter of what's true. See how it works? Like, you don't have to investigate it. You just don't believe it, so therefore it's a lie. You don't have to reason with anyone. You don't have to talk to anyone. You actually don't even have to investigate. You've decided that it is a lie, so therefore it is. Okay, all I ask is, it's a difference of opinion that I have, so look at that opinion objectively and see if there's any truth to it. That's all. It's called reason. It's called reason and accountability. That's all. I'll get to the phones in 2 seconds. 2 seconds. The mind-numb robot that is the Democrat Party, that is liberalism, and I say those things not because they're not too far off, but liberalism, some people will say, I'm not a Democrat, I'm an independent. But when you listen to them, everything they stand for is liberal, if not leftist. So again, there are categories in all of this, as I'm trying to explain it to Courtney at the same time. They don't understand that when someone tells them that liberalism is a mental disorder, there are people who side with them who are exposing that to be true. Listen closely. This is Mark Halperin, a liberal, former host on MSNBC. He is nowhere near conservative. This is him talking about what would happen in America if Donald Trump were to become president of the United States. Listen to him.
I say this not flippantly. I think it will be the cause of the greatest mental health crisis in the history of the country. I think tens of millions of people will question their connection to the nation, their connection to other human beings, their connection to their vision of what their future for them and their children could be like. And I think that will require an enormous amount of access to mental health professionals. I think it'll lead to trauma in the workplace. I think there'll be some degree of
Are you being
protest. 100% serious. 100% serious. I think there'll be alcoholism. There'll be broken marriages. There'll be yeah. They think he's the worst person possible to be president, and having won by the hand of Jim Comey and Fluke in 2016, and then performed in office for 4 years and denied who won the election last time, and January 6th, the fact that under a fair election, America chose by the rules pre-agreed to Donald Trump again, I think it will cause the biggest mental health crisis in the history of America. And I don't think it will be kind of a passing thing that by the inauguration will be fine. I think it will be sustained and unprecedented and hideous. And I don't think the country's ready for it.
So mental health crises often manifest in violence.
Yeah, I think there'll be some violence. I think there'll be workplace fights. There'll be fights at kids' birthday parties. I think there'll be protests that will turn violent. I hope they're not, but I think there will be some. But I think it will be more, it'll be less anger and more a failure to understand how it could happen.
Who do you think is responsible, Mark? Remember what he just said, right? The fluke of his election in 2016, the 4 years he was in office, the denying the 2020 election, January 6th. Who promoted all of those things? Who propped those things up as the death of democracy? Mark Halperin did, with every one of his cohorts on the left. Every one of them. And now they think because of the good work that they were doing, warning the rest of us that if Donald Trump were to win, that it would be the biggest mental health crisis in the world. So again, I don't speak for leftists. I don't know them like that. I don't see them as a collective, unless, of course, they present themselves. But then again, they do. But they're so mentally unhinged, Mark Halperin says, that his election would turn to violence in the streets, violence at work, violence at birthday parties. So when conservatives say this is a mental disease, Mark Halperin, again, an admitted leftist Democrat, says, yeah, these people are going to become unhinged. Sounds like extortion to me if I'm really looking deep. But then again, I don't know. 860-522-WTIC. Matt, my good friend, is in Bristol. How are you, Matt?
Hello, Mr. Hopkins. How you doing, sir?
All right, sir.
So I got a couple quick questions for you. One, I missed your show on Sunday because I never know when it's on. You said you had a big announcement, and I missed it. I don't know what it was.
Oh, the announcement is, we're going to be doing something the week of the election where we're going to be hanging out with listeners.
Oh, man, that's awesome. Okay.
That's all. We're going to be hanging out with listeners. We're either going to be having a funeral or a celebration after the election, either Thursday or Friday night after the election week.
Okay, I didn't want to find out like you were up here this week and I missed it. Then I might have to jump off a bridge or something.
No. I thought I sent you a message to let you know. Yeah, that's it. What's the other one?
So liberalism is a mental disease. It's not my favorite guy, but it's Mark Stein, right?
Mark Halperin.
You got to give him his props. No, the guy that came up with that.
Oh, yeah, Mark Stein. Yes.
Yeah. And then the last thing, I know you're way into federal politics right now, but the commercials they're putting against George Logan in Connecticut, I don't know if you've seen them.
I saw one.
They're basically saying, if you vote for this guy, abortion will be illegal everywhere, including Connecticut. And I just wanted you to, just go over that.
Yeah, I gotcha.
Give people some fodder.
You got it. Matt, you there?
my friend.
Oh yeah, absolutely, no, without a doubt. In fact, I will make a note of that. You're right. I did. That was the one that I did see. That I thought was funny. I'm sorry. When I see that kind of stuff, I laugh at it. I go, they're not serious. This is desperate. But then again, she's actually. You notice that she's sort of been very aggressive in a campaign that she won last year, not handedly, but she's playing the role of somebody who's not the incumbent, which I find interesting.
Yeah, I think she's scared, but I just wanted to go over like all the politics of that. So when our liberal friends say something, we have some ammunition back saying, no, this is not the case.
You got it.
And just quickly go over that again.
You got it. Not a problem, sir. I appreciate it. Pete is in Waterbury. How you doing, Pete?
Two things with Mark Halperin.
Yeah.
I think he's got it exactly backwards.
Okay.
I actually think it's a psyop. I think he's flipping the narrative, and it's a diversion because I think, conservatives and populists, beat the liberals and the Kamala voters by a factor of 5 at least.
Right. So are you suggesting that what I said at the end of it was that Mark Halperin could be playing the extortion game by fearing people into saying, don't let Donald Trump win or it'll be anarchy in the streets? It's sort of like that.
Yeah, I think that's behind everybody's mind.
Right.
We think back to summer 2020
Sure.
and the summer of love and Antifa and Black Lives Matter and all that. I think, I've been seeing Mark Halperin on Newsmax pretending to be a populist, so he's just a snake in the grass.
I
really.
never trusted that guy, especially what was the name of the book that he put out? Do you remember the name of the book he put out during the McCain? The book involved McCain, Palin, Barack, and Hillary, and it was called Game Change. Was that? It sounds like that's the name of the book.
Yeah, I
think,
actually recall.
Yeah,
that.
it was a red cover called Game Change. But what was brilliant about what Mark Halperin did was everything he knew that was going on behind the scenes made news after the election. But it was like everyone was saying, Mark Halperin, if you knew all of this, you would have, imagine the hero you would have been if you broke all these news stories ahead of the election. But he kept it to himself to sell the book after. It was like a weird tell-all.
Exactly. I think he's hooked up to the whole establishment, intelligence establishment.
Couldn't agree more.
I have one other point, Reese, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Historically, Americans have always enjoyed anonymous voting, and it's part of our liberty. It's part of our tradition and who we are as an American.
Sure.
I'm really concerned because now I just heard that the early voting, you're required to write down who you voted for, put in an envelope, and put your name to it, and that destroys the whole concept of anonymous voting.
You know what? And no one. It's so. Listen, that right there is the one thing no one addresses ever in early voting, because if there was going to be this 1984 style, if you were a society, imagine all of those absentee ballots, or not even absentee, but those mail-in ballots. Now, if the Gestapo wanted to come after you, they knew exactly who you are or where you are.
And who you voted for.
Yeah, exactly. So they know that, okay, this guy, Jon Snow, is an enemy of the state. He voted for Trump.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you're 100% right. No one ever talks about that angle.
Yeah.
So
I'm really concerned about that. That's another example of we're losing our liberty, and we're in tyranny. We're actually in tyranny right now.
Yeah, but you know what? I say don't fret, because it is a process that we are still fighting today, state by state, region by region. People are trying to get back to the paper ballot. Georgia, with that right now, which has actually been put on hold. I just heard this morning, but they are people who are trying to get that early voting thing out of it, having election day on election day. I think one of the ways that we solve that is making it a national holiday, as Mark Christopher and I have talked about, making it a national holiday so that everybody goes in and, we start the counting of the paper ballot early, making sure that every vote is counted and every vote is legal. But that's such a good point you brought up.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And not only that, but who controls the vote once you put it in the envelope? What happens to the vote?
That's right. Exactly. But I think your angle, listen, yours is the more detrimental to the individual, because, again, every vote should be personal and private. And that ballot, and again, remember, making it a social norm, right? Once you normalize a certain behavior that violates your anonymity, it's over.
it's over.
You know, and that's a good point. Gosh, it's such a good angle. Somebody's got to start pushing that. In fact, that's got to be done on a national level. And we have to tell them now they know who you are and who you're voting for, and that makes you vulnerable. Such a good point. Thank you for that, Pete. That was a great call, sir. I really appreciate it, sir. Great. We'll get to Joe and Ralph in a little bit. We got to take another break coming up, I promise. If you guys hold, we will get to you because we got to talk about this Mark Halpern thing, and I know both of these gentlemen want to say something about that, so I want to get to their calls. Also, loyalty in the coming breaks. There was a guy from Cantor Fitzgerald, the CEO, I believe, of Cantor Fitzgerald, who was on CNBC. Oh, he was on Bloomberg. I apologize. He was on Bloomberg. You got to hear this audio. It was the greatest comeback to the question of loyalty. And if you haven't heard it, we'll play it for you in a little bit. All right? So stick around. We got that and a whole bunch more. It's Reese on the Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. Now let's get to another check of the traffic with Mark Christopher at the BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon, everyone. Well, if you're heading in toward downtown Hartford right now, you're going to see some slow traffic as you move southbound 91 from exit 34 down to 32A and B. And then you're moving very well as you move down in toward the Cromwell exits on the northbound side of 91. Once again, a good ride, Cromwell up into Windsor. It looks like it's just a little slow as you move between the Dexter Coffin Bridge and exit 45 in East Windsor for some earlier road work. If you're traveling on the westbound side of 84, got delays now, 56 Governor Street up to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound is tied up about a half mile before 46 Sisson Avenue, right down into the tunnel. A little tight again as you move between exit 58 and 59 in East Hartford. 291's a little slow coming up of I-91 to the Bissell Bridge. 2 eastbound's okay, Glastonbury to Marlboro. 9 northbound slowing Harbor Park to the Aragoni Bridge. Heading toward Waterbury, 84 eastbound slowing by 18. 84 westbound in Cheshire, tight 26 into the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound in Danbury, tight New York, Connecticut line to 5. Again, 84 eastbound slowing 10 to 11 in Newtown. South 95 in New Haven is running slow 46 to 44. And we have a crash northbound on the Wilbercross Parkway now on the Milford Orange line between 55B and 56. The right lane is taken out there. Stay left. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC.
Well, the rest of the afternoon, a blend of sun and clouds. It'll be a cool day with a high of 58. Then tonight, under clear skies, there could be frost in the normally colder spots. Otherwise, the low down to 35. Sunshine, a little milder for us on Thursday, and it'll kick off a warming trend that'll last right into the weekend. A high of 62 with a bit of a breeze out of the north, making it feel more like the upper 50s throughout most of the day. Then tomorrow night, clear skies, chilly again with the low down to 40. Friday, a nice day to round out the week with plenty of sun, the high up to 66. Clear skies Friday night, cold, the low down to 38. Then Saturday, a warm day with plenty of sun, a great day for checking out the fall foliage, the high up to 72. Sunday, another nice and warm day with plenty of sun, the high of 74. Then warmer Monday to kick off the new week with plenty of sunshine, the high up to 78. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
And now, a WTIC news update.
Be right back.
It's 4:30. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. The state is reporting the first deaths to influenza this season. State Department of Public Health reports an adult between the ages of 90 and 99 died in September. Earlier this month, an infant less than a year old succumbed to flu. Health officials are imploring residents to get their flu and COVID shots as the winter turns cooler and more people spend more time indoors. 14-year-old student facing charges in Waterbury after police say he brought a BB gun to school. Police were called to Gilmartin Elementary on Tuesday on a weapons complaint from school officials. Police say they located the BB gun in the student's book bag, which was in their locker. Student now faces charges of breach of peace, a weapon on school grounds, and brandishing a facsimile firearm. Early voting in Connecticut begins next Monday. Officials were on hand in Hartford today to remind voters that they have 2 weeks to cast ballots early if they so choose. Voters are encouraged to check with their towns as the early voting locations may differ from the usual locations on Election Day. Early voting in Connecticut runs through November 3rd. Cause of a fire in Norwich is still under investigation. That blaze broke out in a home on Summit Street Tuesday. A 7-year-old died. Her mother and 2 siblings did make it out. The victim's name has not yet been released. And officials in Israel say airstrikes have pounded areas across Lebanon, killing at least 25 people, including more than a dozen in a southern town where Israeli bombardments in previous conflicts took place. On Wall Street this afternoon, the markets all finished up. The Dow ahead 337 points, the Nasdaq gained 51, and the S&P was up 27. NLCS Game 3 tonight at Citi Field between the Mets and the LA Dodgers. That series squared at a game apiece. NHL, the Bruins skate in Colorado. WNBA Finals, New York Liberty at Minnesota. That series tied at a game apiece. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Men, here are some statistics about erectile dysfunction. First, half of men over age 50 have it, with even more of us affected as we get into our 60s and beyond. ED can also impact younger men, even in their 30s, which makes it one of the most pervasive conditions in medicine. This is Dale for Northeast Men's Health, and statistics are one thing, but it's the emotional toll on relationships and the impacts on a man's confidence and self-esteem that are the true tragedies of erectile dysfunction. This is why you need to get treated for your ED. But where you get treated is just as important as getting treated, because who you trust for your health care is critical. At Northeast Men's Health, men's sexual health is our focus. Our providers are experts in treating ED, and we offer the complete range of treatment options with protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means you can get your sex life back. So call us. Your first visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-930-5956 or go to northeastmenshealth.com.
Natural disasters happen every year. Fires, hurricanes.
Whoa, a minute.
With that, your most important moments recorded on VHS, camcorder tapes, and 8mm could all be gone in an instant. Cherished moments like your wedding, baby's first steps, family trips to Yellowstone, lost. Enter Legacy Box. Digitizing your old media with Legacy Box protects your irreplaceable memories from the threat of natural disaster by digitally preserving them onto thumb drive, DVD, or the cloud, so they're safe forever. Legacy Box is the safest and easiest way to preserve your past, which is why it's been trusted by over 1 million families. Send Legacy Box your home movies, photos, and film. Their team of trained professionals will do the rest right here in the U.S. For a limited time, Legacy Box is offering radio listeners an incredible 50.
And 10.
Go to legacybox.com/value and save 50% when you digitize your memories. That's legacybox.com/value.
Reese on the radio, making sense of the news. Yeah, even when it makes no sense at all. Now on WTIC, News Talk 1080.
Right to the phones we go. I want to go to my good friend Joe in Simsbury. This is actually probably a great topic for him, the Mark Halperin piece. How you doing, Joe?
I'm doing well, thank you. Actually, the only thing I'm going to say about the Halperin thing, because I have something that I think is big news right now.
Go for it.
Is that I make the same mistake. I really, at my core, I don't have any issues with liberalism. I have issues with progressivism and wokeism.
Yeah, me
Those
too.
to me are the dangerous ones, because the liberals helped us form this country and the great country that it was for 200 years before the progressives destroyed it.
Good point.
Just wanted to mention that.
Go for it. What do you got?
Here's my news. So 2 months ago, I called in and we talked about the public benefit thing on the Eversource bills. Well, this has nothing to do with it, but I'm going to say that this is bigger.
Okay.
What I found out today is that the state of Connecticut has a system for healthcare, which is a healthcare exchange, and it's called Connie, CONNIE.
Okay.
And we do this with the state of New York. So
Okay.
the federal government provided the state of Connecticut money to set up this health exchange. And what does the health exchange have? All of our private medical information.
Whoa.
So all this stuff that we've been told about HIPAA, where our doctors and the insurance company need to protect all this information, we were never told that now our medical records will reside in a database with the state of Connecticut. The problem, that's a problem for me.
Right.
The next problem is that the federal government gave the state of Connecticut the money to do it, and they totally botched the program. So the way the program was supposed to work was that none of that medical information was going to be in the database. And if I, Joe from Simsbury, wanted it in the database, I could opt in at my doctor's office, signing a form like we do for HIPAA,
sure,
and allow the state of Connecticut to track my private medical information. Well, they botched the program so badly that this is what I found out about it, is the program now is every one of us has our private medical information in the hands of the state of Connecticut, who I'm sure has the best security in the world when it comes to protecting our data. And if we don't want it in there, then the doctors will provide us an opt-out form, which was not the way the program was supposed to work.
Because
So
they botched
now-
it. Because they botched it in the first place.
They never should have had it, in my opinion. But now I don't see how anyone would be satisfied with the Democrat Party, because this was a Democrat initiative, that now our private medical information, and you talked about mental illness before with the Halpern thing.
Right.
I mean, we hear on Odyssey ED commercials and all kinds of other medical information. Now your doctor, and the doctors aren't happy about it, because the doctors now have to get the opt-out form
To all of their
from
patients.
And then doctors have to have their staff send it to the state. And who
Wow.
knows what happens when it goes to the state? Does it ever get removed? And in the process of getting removed, is there anything that's visible in terms of our private medical information?
Joe, hold
This,
on.
to me, is criminal.
You're right. Hold on for a second. Let's get to the BPS Traffic Center with Mark Christopher real quick. Hey, Mark.
You got it, Reese. Thank you very much. And if you are heading on the southbound side of I-91
Keep 'em on
coming
hold.
in Hartford, you're looking at delays 33
Thank
to
you.
32, a little bump down by exit 28. No problems. Northbound 91, Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. If you're traveling westbound 84, slowing 56 Governor Street up to 47 Sigourney. 84 eastbound delays about a mile before 46 Sisson Avenue into the tunnel. A little slowdown again out by the 384 interchange. 291 eastbound's a little tight from I-91 over to the Bissell Bridge. 2 eastbound moving well, Glastonbury to Marlboro. 9 northbound slowing Harbor Park to the Aragoni Bridge. Westbound side of 84 slows 26 in Cheshire into the Mixmaster. 84 eastbound tight in Danbury 3 to 5. Again, 84 eastbound slowing 10 to 11. South 95 New Haven tight from 46 down to exit 44. And northbound on the Wilbur-Cross Parkway, look out for an accident now between 55B and 56. That's in the right lane. Delays are back to the Sikorsky Bridge behind that issue. Traffic and weather together on the 8th. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Under clear skies tonight, there can be some frost in the normally colder spots. Otherwise, a chilly night with the low down to 35. Sunny, but still feels cool for us on Thursday. The high of 62. Still a light breeze out in the north. Likely to make it feel more like upper 50s throughout much of the day. Then Friday, nice, plenty of sunshine, a little milder. The high up to 66. Warmer over the weekend with plenty of sunshine. Great weather for checking out the fall foliage. The high of 72, 74 under sunny skies on Sunday. And Monday, even warmer with plenty of sun. The high up to 78. Right now, Meriden at 59, Danbury 57. It's also 57 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
For quality vinyl siding, the Peter L. Brown Company is your best choice. Let us show you the difference a beautifully installed Peter L. Brown vinyl siding job can make. Please visit peterlbrown.com for roofing, siding, windows, and doors.
Is thinning hair or a receding hairline making you self-conscious? Try Hair Grow from New Nordic. Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start feeling your best with Hair Grow. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I am so excited to be on WTIC right here in Hartford, Connecticut. I'll be bringing all the breaking news with perspective, give you an idea what's happening, not only the election, but beyond, the things that matter to you on a daily basis. I promise to bring you the best guests, the most insight, and the most prepared. Fresh off Fox and Friends, I come up to do the Brian Kilmeade Show here on Fox News. Make sure you join me on WTIC. Hello, Connecticut. I hope I never have to say goodbye.
Hi, this is Joel Johnson with Johnson Brunetti. Do not make mistakes when it comes to Social Security decisions. Get our free guide, Social Security Decisions. Call or text the word security to request your copy. 1-800-705-1232. Call or text the word security to 1-800-705-1232 to get your free guide. 1-800-705-1232. 888-848-9232.
Investment advisory services offered through JB Capital, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Insurance products offered through JN Financial, LLC.
California,
1 minute.
real deal.
Thank you.
They helped me out, totally changed my attitude, totally got me psyched to start my business and to take a new path in my life.
At California Psychics, we only connect our customers with the best. We reject 98% of the psychics who apply to us, so we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. New customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
You're in hot water, mister.
What'd I do?
I told you months ago our utility bills were getting higher because of that old outdated tank water heater.
Maybe it's time we finally switch to a Navien tankless.
Learn about Navient's high-efficiency tankless water heaters, endless hot water. You save on your energy costs.
Hey, look at this. Our utility bill is lower since we got the Navien tankless water heater.
Who's in hot water now?
We are, all the time.
Learn more at tanklessmadesimple.com.
It is your girl, Cammie. And I want you to know that when I listen to the radio, okay, I listen to Reese on the radio.
We're back. It's Reese on the Radio, News Talk 1080 WTIC. We got Joe in Simsbury on the line. Joe, you still there?
I'm still here.
All right. So I'm
Yep.
looking at this. Okay, so they do have a website and a hotline that you can get to. For those of you who are just joining us, Joe in Simsbury is talking about the Connie program, which is a health information exchange that has taken the patients who are on, or I guess in Connie, and has made it available for, I guess, for somebody that a data breach that everybody's information is on, that anyone could get they can get the information from your health, I guess your health needs or just your health data through the Connie program without your permission, because you were never given an option to opt in. Now you're being given the option to opt out after your information is already there. Am I getting that right?
Mostly right. What I was told by a surgeon today is that he and other surgeons are very angry because apparently the process, and I've seen the same thing on the website, the process is that the surgeon's office or the doctor's office needs to be the ones to present the form to the patient, and then they are the ones that need to fax it, because he was telling me about issues with the Connecticut Medical Association where they're mad at them and saying, well, why didn't you tell us about this? So I can't say that that phone number no longer exists, but I can say that doctors are very angry that they need to do it. And I'm, personally, if somebody, when I sign that HIPAA form, I put down the name of people who I'm okay with getting my medical information if need be. And I have no problem if people want to do that. And maybe they think that, hey, we'll let the state have this. Maybe they'll use it for epidemiology information. Whatever reason, that's up to them. But I'm sorry, my information should not reside with the state of Connecticut. My private medical information, I should not have to be the one to opt out of it. They are the ones who messed up their programming and blew the federal money. So this was their fix, was to do it like this. That to me is beyond unacceptable, and it's the Democrats again who are right there doing it, because the Democrat people in the House and the Senate in our state should have said, whoa, no, we're not going to have people, because not everyone's going to do it.
Right.
So that means you're going to have all this private medical information in a trusted database with the state of Connecticut. Yeah.
Why wouldn't it? What I don't understand about this is that the fact that now everyone in the state who doesn't want this information in the hands of the state, that they would force them to opt out. Why not put out, and again, you're finding this out because a surgeon told you. There has been no all hands on deck from the state, from legislature at all to say, hey, we screwed this up. If you want to get your name off this, because if anything, you put that out there. You send a press release to the news agencies that say, hey, listen, your information is on Connie without your knowledge. If you don't want it there, here's how you opt out. No one's even come forward. You had to find this out because someone shared the information with you privately.
Well, they're not going to come forward because it shines the light on government incompetence, and it shines the light just on the whole situation. I know the situation has to do with they feel that the doctors' databases that they use to track patient information should be integrated with the state and blah, blah, blah. But the fact of the matter is that we've been brainwashed for, I don't know how long, was it 20, 25 years with HIPAA?
Yeah.
And now suddenly the last people we want to have our information, especially after just going through a pandemic where they were, tracking people who were vaccinated.
Sure.
They're the last people that I want to have my medical information. And I'll throw this last thing out. I appreciate the time very much, is that let's say that there is a data breach of this information with the state.
More than likely there will be.
Can I turn around and sue the state? Probably not.
Nope.
Because of sovereign immunity.
That's
so
right.
They are protected from a lawsuit. So, this to me is very, very angering. And it is all about the Democrat Party and their incompetence and their inability to let people have personal, private information. It is Big Brother. And
I don't think, like I said, even in this, as you were telling us and we went to the commercial break, in my head, I'm saying to myself, if this was paid for by, in essence, the benefactor here was the state, I mean, not the state, I apologize, the federal government, they have access to this. This goes beyond what state legislatures have. I mean, this was their idea to do that. If this screw up, if anyone who has information about your personal health information, the federal government has that now. But they want that information. Of course they want it. This is valuable to them.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, you remember in the Affordable Care Act, one of the big things that they wanted to implement was have the doctor ask the patient whether or not they were a legal gun owner. Remember that?
Oh, it still happens.
Yeah, I mean,
my doctor looks at me and, we both run into each other at Costco, we're both carrying, and he just looks at me. He goes, "Do you want me to ask?" I said, "No, that's okay." We laugh.
Yeah, that's, whew. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. Now, let's see if anybody does anything on this. I'm sure the story will come out. I know exactly who I'm going to contact. I don't even have to say anything. I know exactly who I'm going to contact to get this story out there. Thank you, Joe. Joe, you know what? You know my email address, right? Go to reasoonradio.com. Just send me your email address. I'm sure I have it already. I just have to find it. But just hit me up real quick so I can get you in touch with my guy who's a reporter in Connecticut so I can get more information on this, okay?
All right, will do. Thank you very much.
You got it, sir. Much appreciated. Ralph, are you still there? Ralph in South Carolina? How are you doing, Ralph?
Just a lovely day in South Carolina, about 75 dry, sunshine all day. Reese, couple things. First, with Halpern, is that his name?
Yeah, Mark Halpern.
Yeah, someone who is in serious need of mental health help, because the man is a total moron. You notice he didn't mention after the 2016 election all the Democrats that said that Trump was illegally elected. How
That's
many
right.
of them? There were dozens of them. He didn't mention that, though, did he?
No, in fact, it's funny because he says this deal about what kind of anarchy is going to be in the street and the biggest mental health crisis. I don't know, and maybe it's me, but I think that what they said about Donald Trump in 2016 was far worse than what they're saying today, more so because no one believes it, and it's had the least effect than it was. Because in 2016, the worst we got from protesters was on Inauguration Day when Madonna got on the stage and said, sometimes she dreams about blowing up the White House. That was the worst it got. And, of course, some businesses that got torched, if not damaged, in D.C.
But the thing is, you listen to those people, and these people, they live in I'm not even sure what world they live in. It's talk about an alternate universe. I mean, these people are nuts. If Trump loses, he's going to lose. If he wins, he's going to win. If he wins, there may be a lot more issues out there than if Trump loses. But can I mention the abortion thing?
Yeah, of course. Go for it. Go.
We talked about the abortion thing, and you realize that you know why they call it a fetus? Because if I'm not mistaken, doesn't the Hippocratic Oath say something about not doing any harm?
Yeah, at first do no harm.
Right, okay, now the reason I call it a fetus, I'm sorry, is say they say, well, this is a possible human being. This will be a future human being.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now they're breaking their oath, so this way they can sleep at night by saying, oh yeah, it's not a human being, it's not a person, it's
Gotcha.
a fetus. So this clears the conscience. And I'd like to make a comment. My sister has 3 children that she adopted because her and her husband couldn't have kids.
Wow.
These are 3 people who were never aborted. One of them was a Navy Rio. He was the Rio. He was the guy in the back of the F-16, F-15, F-16, and was an FBI agent for 23 years. Another one is a druggist with the VA in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one works for the VA in Florida. These are people who were given life by their mothers and turned out to be really, really good human beings. And by denying someone who hasn't been born yet but will be eventually that right to be the best that they can be, to me, all these pro-abortion people, and I guess I can understand it. I'm pro-birth control, very pro-birth control.
Okay, so you're pro-contraception even though you're pro-life.
Exactly. And
Okay.
If you don't want to have children, Reese, you and I know there's probably 1,000 different ways to prevent getting pregnant. And
abstinence being the most important one.
Well, that's one, but that's not going to happen, and we know that. But there are many, many ways to prevent that. And if you God forbid, you do get pregnant and you end up having that child, that future human being aborted, it could be a future president, it could be a scientist, it could be a cop, policeman, or it could be a criminal. We don't know.
Right. I knew you were going to go there because I was actually going to go to the same place. Ralph, let me tell you this. Do you remember the guy who was on, I'm almost certain it was on MSNBC. But this was before MSNBC went far, far left. But it was at least, I want to say 14, maybe 15 years ago. But this guy was on MSNBC, and the conversation about abortion came up. And this guy got a lot of heat because he said, when I was growing up, the best form of birth control was a woman putting a Tic Tac between her knees and holding it. Do you remember that guy? I'll never forget when I don't know who said it, but I remember when he did, and I remember the entire news, news organizations across the country were going. He was on every news story that day that he would say something so demonstrative. But I didn't take offense. I thought it was funny. Yes, he's old school, and he was, in essence, he was just saying one of the best ways to not get pregnant is abstinence. But yeah, he did it in a colorful way. But I'll never forget how much he was ostracized for it. I just thought it was clever.
That certainly makes sense. Or, I mean, even with a man, you can have a vasectomy today. I had it done many, many years ago because I did not want any more children.
Right.
And I believe that's the way to go. I mean, this way, I think the saying at that time was you're taking out the baby carriage and putting in a playpen, something to that effect.
That one's actually really good, too.
And if you don't want to have children, that's fine. Then don't. But if you do get pregnant, at least, and it's easy for me to say because I'm not the one being pregnant.
Rob, I'll say this.
Chance.
Let me say this and I'll let you go. Here's the thing that I think that makes this whole story in this conversation over the top, if you will, is that now the discussion went from a woman's right to have an abortion to pushing women to the abortion clinic, if you get my meaning. In essence, right. It's become this proactive movement to get women pregnant to have an abortion. You know what I mean? It's like the first argument was a woman, if indeed she were to get pregnant through no fault of her own, okay, or if it was an accident, or if they couldn't afford it, that was what the argument they were making. But now you've got these activists who are on stage, who in essence we're talking about events and planned speakers who are getting on stage going, yay, I'm on my 7th abortion, like celebrating the death of a child and turning it into a rallying cry. That's where we are today.
The question I would ask that activist is, aren't you glad your mother didn't have one?
Yeah, indeed. It's always the best question. Thank you, Ralph. Much appreciated. I'm glad you finally got to get through on that one. When we come back, I got to get into this thing about loyalty and, of course, your phone calls. The 5 o'clock focus is coming up. Do I have? Yeah. Okay. Just be patient with me. Roland, we're going to play the 5 o'clock focus teaser after 5:05. So just bear with me on, don't promote it in the first hour block, or the first block of the next hour. We'll promote it after the fact, because you've got to hear this thing on loyalty. And for this guy from Cantor Fitzgerald, I want you guys to hear that. And then the 5 o'clock focus, I'll tease it after the fact. And when you hear this audio, you are going to be blown away that someone said this at a TED Talk. For me, I literally looked at it. I just went, "This is real." I thought it was. I don't know. I'll play it for you later. Anyway, let's get into another check of our traffic with Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. How we doing, Mark?
Reese, we're doing okay. Southbound 91, you got delays. Hartford 33 to 32. Again, 27 to 28. Northbound 91 moving very well. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84 tied up in East Hartford, approaching the Bulkley Bridge out to 45 Flatbush Avenue. 84 eastbound, you've got slow traffic a half mile before 46 Sisson Avenue down to the Bulkley Bridge. 291 eastbound's a little tight. I-91 over to the Bissell. 2 eastbound is running a little slow in East Hartford between 5A and 5C. If you are traveling 3 northbound, a little tight from the Putnam Bridge over to the Route 2 ramps. 13A and B. If you're traveling into Middletown, 9 northbound, you got delays Harbor Park to the Aragoni Bridge. 9 southbound, slowing Cromwell Middletown line to the Aragoni Bridge. Heading toward Waterbury, 84 westbound, sluggish 26 to 25, again from 22 into the Mixmaster. Look out for an accident now on the eastbound side of I-84. And that looks like it's between exit 15 and 16 in Southbury, so you've got some delays there.
Are you kidding, Lori?
Very tight New York, Connecticut line out to 5. Again, 84 eastbound slowing 9 to 11 in Newtown. South 95 New Haven tied up from 48 down to 44. Southbound Parkway.
Did he say that he would comply?
60 into the West Rock Tunnel. And look out for an accident northbound on the Parkway. It's right on the Milford Orange line between 55B and 56. Right lane out there. Delays are approaching the Sikorsky Bridge. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Well, the rest of the afternoon, a blend of sun and clouds. It'll be a cool day with a high of 58. Then tonight, under clear skies, there could be frost in the normally colder spots. Otherwise, the low down to 35. Sunshine, a little milder for us on Thursday, and it'll kick off.
Link it in the chat room.
Last right
the
into
article.
The weekend. The high of 62 with a bit of a breeze out of the north, making it feel more like the upper 50s throughout most of the day. Then tomorrow night, clear skies, chilly again with the low down to 40. Friday, a nice day to round out the week with plenty of sun, the high up to 66. Clear skies Friday night, cold, the low down to 38. Then Saturday, a warm day with plenty of sun, a great day for checking out the fall foliage, the high up to 72. Sunday, another nice and warm day with plenty of sun, the high of 74. Then warmer Monday to kick off the new week with plenty of sunshine.
Jesus Christ,
high
Bill
up to
Clinton
78.
can't keep it in his pants.
Jason
He is
Catarina
like the
in the
worst.
WTIC Weather Center.
WTIC is 99 and throwing a year-long celebration to 100 years on the air. This is WTIC and WTIC FM HD2 Hartford. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
5 o'clock, Hartford temperature 56 degrees. Good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. Connecticut has logged its first 2 deaths to influenza this season. State Department of Public Health Commissioner Dr. Manisha Jutani.
One was in a person in their 90s, but the second was in a 2-month-old. 2-month-old is not eligible for a vaccine. And it breaks my heart to hear that for that family of that newborn.
She says COVID-19 deaths have been up between 15 and 20 a month through September. Jutani, one of a number of local and state officials today, urging residents to plan now to get their flu shot and COVID booster, saying that will reduce the likelihood of hospitalization should you get sick. School officials say student cell phones cause mass distraction in the classroom and even lead to cyberbullying and fights. Now, all of New Haven public schools will go cell phone free by next fall. They've been running a pilot program at the Barnard Magnet School. Students lock their phones in special pouches at the start of the day. Eighth grader Omar Mushtaq admits the plan wasn't initially well received.
At first, there was massive outrage. Nobody liked having their phones taken away, obviously, because it was a big change. But now, as the year has progressed, people now feel it's actually a good thing that they're not on their phones all the time.
The school system says students are paying attention to teachers and each other. Test scores are up and fighting is down. All New Haven K-8 schools will adopt the program in January. High schools will follow suit next fall. Hartford police have arrested a city councilman in connection with the alleged embezzlement of money from a local church. More from WTIC's Morgan Cunningham.
Hartford police say 27-year-old city councilor Alexander Thomas allegedly misused a credit card belonging to the church where he worked. The money was then, according to police, directed from a shell company to his personal accounts. The investigation began with a complaint made back on June 4th earlier this year. Thomas, a member of the Working Families Party, turned himself in to Hartford police on Tuesday to face charges of second-degree money laundering and second-degree larceny. Bond is $250,000. Hartford City Council President Shirley Surgeon says, in short, that the city of Hartford holds its officials to high standards of integrity and accountability, saying that since this is part of an active investigation, the city has no further comment. Morgan Cunningham, WTIC 1080 News.
Investigation continues into a house fire in Norwich Tuesday that left a 7-year-old girl dead. Just before 5:30, multiple 911 calls came into the city's dispatch center on a report of a fire on Summit Street. Amanda Onavi tells WFSB she placed one of those calls.
As soon as I opened the door, it was, help me, call 911, my house is on fire.
The little girl was trapped inside the home, say firefighters. Her mother and 2 siblings were able to escape. The mother was treated for smoke inhalation. The victim was a student in the Norwich school system, and the acting superintendent says grief counselors were on hand to offer support today. Supporters and relatives of Lyle and Eric Menendez are trying to rally support to get the brothers released from prison. This over 3 decades after they were sent away for the murders of their parents. Here's correspondent Errol Barnett.
Nearly 24 relatives are set to hold a news conference today in the continuing fight to free the two. O'Donnell has been critical of a recent Netflix series about the brothers who were serving life terms for the 1989 murders of their parents. Prosecutors are reviewing the case after new evidence emerged that could help the brothers.
Family and friends turned out in Washington today to remember Ethel Kennedy, the widow of the late Senator Robert F. Kennedy, died last week after suffering a stroke. President Biden delivered a eulogy.
Ethel was a hero in her own right, full of character, full of integrity and empathy.
Ethel Kennedy was 96. Wall Street, the Dow finished up 337 points today. The Nasdaq gained 51. And the S&P was up 27 points. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Brian Shackman here for Go.
1 minute.
Rates have plunged lately. Go Rascal
Hey,
sees
is
some
it
of the
true
lowest
that
rates in over 2
Belichick just
years.
went to
Go Rascal's
Dallas?
mortgage refi program is fast, easy.
That Belichick what?
Help you
Went
lower
to
your
Dallas.
house payment in a matter of days.
No.
With Go Rascal, you can lock in a lower rate with virtually no paperwork and often no appraisal. And you can also use the opportunity to take cash out of your equity, pay off credit cards, car loans, and other high-interest debt. Go Rascal is a new, better kind of home loan company that runs circles around the banks. I mean, think about it. You can snag a rate we haven't seen in over 2 years, pay off your credit cards, and lower your house payment. If you act now, you can even skip your next 2 mortgage payments. Call Go Rascal right now. They've got home loan rates with APRs you will not believe. Get your free quote right now. 860-996-8610 or Go Rascal. Of new lower rates right now at 860-996-8610. GoRascal.com. That number one more time, 860-996-8610. Equal housing lender, NMLS 2072896, subject to lender approval.
You're listening to Reese on the Radio, filling in today for Todd Feinberg on WTIC News Talk 1080.
We're back. It's Reese on the Radio. 5 o'clock focus coming up. But I want to play this thing. This is absolutely hilarious. Head of Cantor Fitzgerald, I believe. Howard Lutnick is his name. and he was on Breitbart News on their program. And I remember someone calling this show, or when I was filling in at some point a couple of years ago, and someone was talking about loyalty. And I think the big thing they said was, he just wants people to be loyal to him. Talking about Donald Trump. He wanted Pence to be loyal. You have to be loyal to him. And I went, yeah, of course. If somebody's going to be working with me, I'm president of the United States. You're damn right, dude. I mean, what's the opposite of loyal? That would be disloyal. And I don't think people understand what that word means. You'll hear it in this audio. If you work for someone and they are your boss, in this case, the commander-in-chief, if you work under them, you must be loyal. I need you to be loyal. But when people hear that word, they think it means something else. Listen to Howard Lutnick asked about loyalty.
You said to the Financial Times, we're going to give people the role based on their capacity, what you're saying here, and their fidelity and loyalty to the policy as well to the man. Is that how you run your company? People have to be loyal to you?
Now, you hear the tone, right? People have to be loyal to you. Now, this is that world that they live in the business world and on television and the news media. They think that the maniacs run the asylum. They don't think they have to be loyal to their bosses, the people who sign their paycheck. That's the new world. Do they have to be loyal to you? Oh, the answer will blow your mind what Howard Lutnick says. Let's get to the BPS Traffic Center and a man who's loyal to traffic, Mark Christopher. Hey, Mark.
That's right. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Reese. If you are heading into downtown Hartford right now on the eastbound side of 84, delays about a half mile before 46 Sisson Avenue into the tunnel. Westbound 84 is running slow, approaching the Bulkley Bridge out to 46 Sisson Avenue. Southbound 91, look for delays 33 down to 32 A and B. And again, you're slowing from 27 to 28. Northbound 91 moving well. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. 291 eastbound slowing. I-91 over to the Bissell Bridge. 2 eastbounds a little slow coming off of Route 2, off of I-84 onto Route 2 east out to exit 5C. In East Hartford, 3 northbound, some slow traffic now from the exit 13 area in Glastonbury up to 13A and B as you transition to Route 2. If you're traveling 9 northbound, you've got slow traffic now. Harbor Park up to the Aragoni Bridge. 84 westbound in Cheshire, delays approaching 26. And you're pretty much sluggish right up to exit 22 in Waterbury. Look out for an accident on the eastbound side of 84 between exit 15 and 16 in Southbury. 84 eastbound in Danbury, tight 3 to 5. Again, 84 eastbound slowing 10 to 11 in Newtown. And if you're traveling on the southbound side of the Parkway, delays 61 down into the West Rock Tunnel. Northbound Parkway, an accident on the Milford Orange line between exit 55B and 56. The right lanes out there, delays are approaching the Sikorsky Bridge. And 95 southbound, you've got slow traffic 48 down to 44 in New Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8th WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC. With clear skies tonight, it's going to be quite chilly, and there can be frost in some of the normally colder spots. The low down to 35. Sunny, still cool on Thursday, the high of 62, but a nice warming trend into the weekend on Friday. Plenty of sunshine, a little milder, the high up to 68. Pleasantly warm Saturday with plenty of sun, the high 72, and even warmer still on Sunday, moving up to 77 for a high. And then we kick off the new week on Monday with plenty of sunshine and the high up to 78. Right now, Waterbury at 53, New London 56, Mansfield 54, and it's 55 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
At the Carter Mario Law Firm, we've recovered over $1 billion for injured people. When you need someone to fight for you, you need to get Carter in your corner. Visit getcarter.com or call us at 877-GET-CARTER.
Vacation is over, school is back in session, and WTIC News Talk 1080 is part of your daily routine with news, weather, and traffic updates, plus local talk shows to keep you informed and entertained. It's back to the grind, but we'll help you get through it. WTIC News Talk 1080 on your radio, your smart speaker, and the free Odyssey app.
Dan owed an unbelievable amount of money to the IRS.
I got behind on my taxes. It's a horrible feeling.
He was in denial.
And when I got those letters from the IRS, you wanted to act like they didn't exist.
Finally, Dan turned to Optima Tax Relief, the leading tax resolution firm. A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau, they've resolved over $1 billion for their clients.
Optima got me a settlement with the IRS. These people are really people-friendly. It was every bit of a new lease on life for me.
The fast action and the great results made Dan's head spin.
I felt like I was in a dream, but it's real, and I have paperwork to prove it. They got the job done, and life is good.
For tax help you can trust, call Optima now for a free consultation.
If you're worried about what's going to happen with the IRS, stop worrying. Make the call
Look
now.
who's here now.
800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Brett, congratulations.
800-354-2840.
I bet everyone has been telling you.
Optima Tax Relief. Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
This is a commercial for California.
1 minute.
America's most trusted psychic network. So, if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. No, really, this is it. You won't see your soulmate's face in the clouds or your career path mapped out in your cappuccino foam. This really is it. We could add some dramatic sound effects if you'd like. So what you waiting for? Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says.
Avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
Oh, it's on
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, honey bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
It's the 5 o'clock focus.
It's the 5 o'clock focus.
I'm focused, man.
The 5 o'clock focus today. Oh, by the way, I have to play this Howard Lutnick thing. Let me finish playing this real quick, and then we'll get to the 5 o'clock focus. Listen closely. Howard Lutnick, Cantor Fitzgerald, asked about loyalty.
You said to the Financial Times, we're going to give people the role based on their capacity, what you're saying here, and their fidelity and loyalty to the policy as well to the man. Is that how you run your company? People have to be loyal to you?
Absolutely. Imagine working at Cantor Fitzgerald and saying, I'm disloyal to Howard Lutnick. Or
Well,
better,
can they
how about
disagree
all of
with
you?
you?
How about all of you look at the screen and say, to heck with Mike Bloomberg. Let's see how that goes. You'll be like, ta-ta.
Can they disagree with you?
Can they disagree with you? That's not the same thing, dum-dum. Of course I want counter. I want everybody to disagree with me. I want them to challenge me on what I believe. That's not what disloyalty means. I just thought that was interesting. Now let's get to the 5 o'clock focus. This one's great. World Economic Forum agenda contributor was at some TED Talk, and he said this. Listen closely.
Most legal systems are based on this idea, this belief in human rights. But human rights are just like heaven and like God. It's just a fictional story that we've invented and spread around. It may be a very nice story. It may be a very attractive story. We want to believe it. But it's just a story. It's not a reality. It is not a biological reality. Just as jellyfish and woodpeckers and ostriches have no rights, Homo sapiens have no rights also. Take a human, cut him open, look inside, you find their blood, and you find the heart and lungs and kidneys, but you don't find there any rights. The only place you find rights is in the fictional stories that humans have invented and spread around. And the same thing is also true in the political field. States and nations are also, like human rights and like God and like heaven, they too are just stories. A mountain is a reality. You can see it, you can touch it, you can even smell it. But Israel or the United States, they are just stories, very powerful stories, stories we might want to believe very much, but still they are just stories. You can't really see the United States. You cannot touch it. You cannot smell it.
Woo! Again, World Economic Forum agenda contributor. He's a big deal. It's a big deal everywhere. His name is Yuval Noah Harari. Question. Your human rights don't exist. They are just a story. Does this worry you now even more that this guy is a member of the World Economic Forum? This is the stuff that goes around in Davos. Remember, they used to call it, what was the thing called? Bilderberg or the Bilderberg Group or something like that. Now it's out in the open. This guy is a member of that group, the World Economic Forum, with Klaus Schwab. Isn't that his name? Klaus Schwab? Yeah. These are the guys who want you to eat bugs, have nothing, and be happy. You have no human rights. What's your response to this? And if you're a liberal, if you're a progressive, what do you think about this? Because if I thought that the leftists in, I guess, everywhere, if anything was most important, it was human rights. I thought that's what all the college kids were screaming about in Gaza. This guy is Jewish. Yuval Noah Harari went to school at yeshiva. And he's out there saying, there's no such thing as human rights. This is a fiction. It's a story. What's real are mountains. You can smell. I've never smelled a mountain, I have to admit. Do we still have Fred on the line? Let's go to
Nah, he's gone.
Okay,
Not
is it
Frank?
Okay, let's go. Hey, Frank in Woodbridge, let's go to Frank in Woodbridge.
No, different Frank.
Oh, different Frank? Okay, then fine. Whoever the Frank is, we'll go to that Frank. Frank, you're on with Reese On The Radio. How are you, sir? Fred, you there? Frank, are you there?
All right, then we got Sean and Meredith.
Okay. Oh, Sean is in Meredith. Hey, Sean. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Quick question on the guy who just spoke. You said, what was his name?
His name is Yuval Noah Harari. He is the agenda contributor to the World Economic Forum.
Well, here's what he just suggested for the world. That someone could easily right now, and I don't promote this, come up, shoot, and kill him because he has no rights.
Right, he has, exactly. Right? So in essence, he has no right to liberty, to life, to exist.
Exactly. So he's actually living against his own principle. That's how stupid he is.
But
I mean, you can't make this stuff up.
I know. Trust me.
No one has the right to. No one has the right to exist. But I'm telling you what you should do because I think you should listen to me, even though I have no right to exist.
Listen. When I saw it, Sean, the first thing that ran through my mind was, "There's no way this is real." I thought I was being duped. I thought I was having another Greta Thunberg episode. That this isn't real. Right? I thought this whole thing was fake. And then I looked, and it's everywhere. And they're like, this guy is. And again, the World Economic Forum is the World Economic Forum that Al Gore, John Kerry. I mean, we're talking about legions of former heads of states. They go to every year in Davos. This guy is one of the agenda contributors who's out here telling world leaders, they're human rights. This is a fallacy. And I'm like, I'm losing it. I'm like, what?
Well, and I said this to you before. This should be renamed. The whole thing should be named Hub University. Head up butt. Head up butt University. Because if you all believe this, then then don't talk about global warming because none of us have the right to exist. So global warming is a fallacy because none of us have the right to exist. So therefore, the world is just a free-for-all.
You know what, Sean? Hub University is now a mainstay on Reese On The Radio.
It's a hat. It's a hat that I designed. So I will get you a copy personally. I will mail. Give me your information. I'll send you a copy. I designed it because I couldn't believe some of the stupid stuff I was hearing as a social worker when they would say certain things. I'm like, you're not serious, are you? Yeah. The guy's running down the street with cocaine flying out of his pockets and out of the cuffs in his pants, and you're going to say he needs counseling? No.
Yeah, you know what? I want that hat. Hub University, it's the best. That is
okay, but I'm that's in quotes, and I own the rights to that.
Not a problem. I will always listen to me. Right now, it is a mainstay here, and you take every bit of the credit. I promise.
All right, brother.
You got it. Just contact me on Reese on the Radio, and that's with an S. ReeseOnTheRadio.com. I can get your information. You can send it to me, and I will wear it right here on the air. I totally appreciate that. That's again, I'm listening to this, and I'm just completely stunned. Lori says globalists are the most dangerous entity in this world. I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. Michael A. says more like smelling a mountain of BS. Yeah, another thing that sounds ridiculous. But these people are promoting that. And I know that it's never talked about, but you've got to ask. Like, I would take this audio and go to guys like Chris Murphy. And I would say, you know, your good friend Al Gore goes to this thing every year. He's a member of this group, the World Economic Forum. John Kerry, he's a member of these groups. I mean, does this run parallel to you? Does this run parallel to you guys? What do you think of this? That human rights is a joke. And you would ask this guy, what does he think of slavery in Tripoli? What does he think of Uyghurs being sterilized in China? What would he think of those things? What about child labor and child soldiers in the Congo? What would he think of those things? And this is the stuff that people don't realize we are trying to fight. They always say that we're over-exaggerating, right? Remember, and again, this is Wednesday, so it's almost Whack Job Wednesday in a way. But this is the stuff that they tell us, no, it's not true. No one is out there doing things like this. You know, this is QAnon conspiracy nonsense. I didn't have to go far for this. This was actually taped for everyone to see. I wish at the end he would say something like, oh, no, I'm just kidding. It was all a joke. But no, this is how he feels. I got to play it again one more time.
Most legal systems are based on this idea, this belief in human rights. But human rights are just like heaven and like God. It's just a fictional story.
And then to throw heaven and God into it. I wish this was my podcast. I would throw a gunshot over this real quick. You can't do the gunshots on me. On my podcast, I would have. I couldn't believe he said that. It's like God. It's like heaven. It's a fiction.
That we've invented and spread around. It may be a very nice story. It may be a very attractive story. We want to believe it. But it's just a story. It's not a reality. It is not a biological reality. Just as jellyfish and woodpeckers and ostriches have no rights.
We're compared to jellyfish and ostriches? I think he's just looking for animals.
Homo sapiens have no rights also.
This was a weird analogy. This is the weirder part.
Take a human, cut him open, look inside. You find their blood, and you find the heart and lungs and kidneys, but you don't find there any rights.
They're not supposed to be there. What do you think? It's right next to my liver? 860-522-WTIC. Jeff's in Marlboro. How you doing, Jeff?
Hey, Reese, I'm doing okay. How you doing, buddy?
I'm all right. I know you. Can you say that this may very well be on the list of weirdest things you've ever heard?
Well, no, actually, I called in to sort of go against you a little bit.
Okay, go for it.
Well, it says in the Constitution we have the right to life,
Liberty.
and the pursuit of happiness.
Yes.
Well, the very first line there, life, the very first, guaranteed life.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't. You could be a baby born with cancer. You could be stillborn. We don't have that right.
But that's not.
It's not a right.
But wait, hold on. Let's unpack that part that you're suggesting, right? Now, the Constitution says you have the right to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. But of course, there's no way the Constitution can inject mitigating factors. Of course, you could be a child born with leukemia and you only live a day or two. But within that day, even if it's an hour, right, during that time, and I think that almost goes to the abortion argument that Ralph made earlier, right? Even if that time on earth is 1 minute, you have the same equal rights as somebody who lives for 90 years, even in that small amount of time. So it isn't guaranteed. The interesting word here is guaranteed. It's not guaranteed, but you have a right to those things, life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness. In essence, no one should impede those things. Now, cancer or a life-threatening illness, that's different.
Yeah, it's different. I suppose. I think, we got to take, it's not guaranteed by anybody.
Of course.
God doesn't, you're not born in a box with a guarantee on the side from God.
Fair enough. But wait a minute. So are you, in some way, are you taking Harari's position on this? I want to say, are you reasoning with his explanation here of no person has them or that it's fictional?
No, not at all. Not at all.
Oh, okay.
I think he's talking out his butt. But what I wanted to do was just play a little devil's advocate, and there's some things that you're just really not guaranteed or that you necessarily have the right to.
Right.
And that's just life.
I got you. Thank you. I appreciate you, sir. Let's get into another check of the traffic with Mark Christopher in a BPS Traffic Center. Hey, Mark.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Good afternoon to you, and good afternoon, everyone. And if you're heading into the Hartford area right now on the southbound side of I-91, look for slow traffic from 33 down to 32 A and B. And again, right after 29A, right down to exit 28 on the Hartford Weathersfield line. Look out for an accident between 20 and 19 as you move down into Meriden. That's got you backed up, almost back to exit 21 in Cromwell behind that. Northbound 91 moving very well. Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. 291 eastbound slowing from I-91 over to the Bissell Bridge. 2 eastbound is running slow off of I-84 out to exit 5C in East Hartford. 2 westbound's tight, exit 4 to the 84 West Merge. 9 northbound Middletown tight, Harbor Park to the Aragoni Bridge. 84 westbound in Cheshire, some slow traffic approaching exit 26 at Cheshire, all the way up to exit 22 in Waterbury. 84 eastbound Danbury tight from the New York, Connecticut line out to exit 5. Delays again from 9 in Newtown to 11 in Newtown. And look out for an accident, 84 eastbound Southbury between exit 15 and 16. That's got you backed up prior to exit 15 behind that. If you're heading southbound on the Weber Cross Parkway, delays from 61 down to 60. 95 South New Haven slows from 46 down to exit 44 in New Haven. Traffic and weather together on the 8's WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Well, the rest of the afternoon, a blend of sun and clouds, a cool day with a high of 58. Then tonight, under clear skies, there could be frost in the normally colder spots. Otherwise, the low down to 35. Sunny skies, a little milder for Thursday with the high up to 62. A nice day to round out the week on Friday. Plenty of sunshine again, the high up to 66. And Saturday looking gorgeous to kick off the weekend with plenty of sunshine. The high up to 72. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
And now, a WTIC news update.
5:30, good afternoon. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News. A Hartford City Councilor is facing charges he embezzled money from a local church. 27-year-old Alexander Thomas allegedly misused a church credit card where he worked. He faces second-degree money laundering and larceny charges. Child is dead. The investigation continuing into a fatal house fire Tuesday in Norwich. That call came in around 5:30 to the home on Summit Street. 7-year-old was trapped inside. Her mother and 2 siblings got out. The mother's being treated for smoke inhalation. New Hampshire man facing charges after he was reported driving recklessly and attempting to elude state police on an area highway. 21-year-old Robert Bean of Portsmouth, New Hampshire, now charged. Troopers say they received a number of calls Tuesday night of a vehicle driving erratically, and they spotted the silver Mazda on I-84 towards 691. He attempted to elude officers, hitting traffic cones along the way, and is now being held on a $100,000 bond. State officials on hand today to remind residents about the start of early voting. That is next Monday, October 21st. 14 days ahead of the general election, early voting in Connecticut runs through November 3rd, 2 days before Election Day. Presidential candidates back on the trail today. Vice President Harris being joined by moderate Republicans in Pennsylvania. President Trump held a town hall Tuesday with an all-female audience. And President Volodymyr Zelensky has told lawmakers that Ukraine's Western partners are increasing pressure to negotiate with Russia, but he hinted such talks would be unfavorable to Kyiv as he unveiled what he called his victory plan for the war. On Wall Street, the Dow gained 337 points today. The Nasdaq was up 51 and the S&P was up 27. NLCS Game 3 tonight at Citi Field. The Mets and the Dodgers all tied up at a game apiece. NHL, the Bruins are skating in Colorado, and in the WNBA, Game 3 of the finals there between the Liberty and the Minnesota Lynx. That series is tied at 1 game apiece. For these stories and more, go to WTIC.com. I'm John Silva, WTIC 1080 News.
Longing for thick, healthy, gorgeous hair? Say goodbye to shedding thin and dull hair and hello to thick, healthy hair with Hair Volume from New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group, and I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney, and the truth is I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free information kit. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090. 800-714-9090.
When you're hiring for... ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology makes finding qualified candidates for your job easy. This made us wonder, what if the rest of the world was as easy as ZipRecruiter? Math problems wouldn't be so problematic.
K equals 42.
Escape rooms? Elementary. And summiting Everest would be a walk in the park. In the meantime, if you want to make your hiring easier, use ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Simple. So, see what the world is like when ZipRecruiter does the hard work of hiring for you. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
It's the 5 o'clock focus.
It's the 5 o'clock focus.
I'm focused, man.
5 o'clock focus here on Reese On The Radio on NewsTalk 1080 WTIC. Your human rights don't exist. Yeah, they don't exist. They are phony. And that's according to, I guess, a well-esteemed philosopher by the name of Yuval Noah Harari, who says that human rights are a fiction. And again, I don't know what the premise of him saying that we don't have human rights. I don't get it at all. As if to suggest that because we don't have human rights that, I mean, who gets to determine anyone's fate? Or are we just running around, everybody's just doing whatever they want? So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should. Here's what, again, this makes it sound like just anarchy.
Most legal systems are based on this idea, this belief in human rights. But human rights are just like heaven and like God. It's just a fictional story that...
Was there not one person in there who believes in God? Who's like, what?
We've invented and spread around. It may be a very nice story. It may be a very attractive story. We want to believe it. But it's just a story. It's not
I want to know, can I do a TED Talk? Does anybody know how I can get a TED Talk? I would love to do a TED Talk and just get out there and talk about absolute nonsense and see if I can get a standing ovation. I mean, I want to know if I could go out and do a TED Talk and just pull a Kamala Harris and just go, the things that were before are in front of us before we leave them. I want to go in there and just spout off any ridiculous thing that comes to the top of my head for about 30 minutes and watch the entire place erupt. I think that every one of the people who attend those TED Talks are absolute morons. I think you could tell them anything because this guy just pretty much just said, you don't have a right to anything.
reality. It is not a biological reality. Just as jellyfish and woodpeckers and ostriches have no rights.
I never once compared myself to a woodpecker. And this guy just says that out loud. Just like an ostrich or a woodpecker, you have no rights. These are made-up things. Like the Tooth Fairy, Santa Claus. $20,000 loans from Kamala Harris. These things are made up. They are not real. Let's get another check of the traffic with Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center, who is very real. Very real.
We're keeping it real right here on Recess for sure. If you are heading into Hartford right now, southbound 91 delays 33 to 32 A and B, and then again delays approaching exit 27 down to 28 on the Hartford Weathersfield line. More delays from 21 down to 20 as you move Cromwell into Middletown. Northbound 91 moving well, Cromwell through downtown up into Windsor. Westbound 84 is slowing 56 Governor Street out to 45 Flatbush Avenue. 84 eastbound delays about a mile before 46th Avenue into the tunnel. 291 eastbound slowing I-91 over to the Bissell Bridge. If you're 2 eastbound, got some heavy traffic in East Hartford coming off of I-84 out to exit 5C. Now, in Middletown right now, that looks good overall. 84, both sides of 9 and the Aragoni Bridge. Westbound 84 is tied up in Cheshire, approaching 26 up to 22 in Waterbury. 84 eastbound, look out for an accident in Southbury between exit, well, it's actually very close to exit 16, so we'll call delays back to exit 14 in New Southbury behind that. If you're heading 84 eastbound in Danbury, delays New York, Connecticut line out to 5, again 10 to 11 in Newtown. Southbound Parkway, you've got slow traffic now in Hamden as you move by exit 62 down into the West Rock Tunnel. South 95 New Haven slowing from 48 to 44, and 91 southbound New Haven slows from exit 3 down in toward the 95 interchange. Traffic and weather together on the 8th. WTIC News Talk 1080.
WTIC weather.
Under clear skies tonight, it is going to be quite chilly, and there could be frost in the normally colder spots. The low down to 35. Sunny and still cool on Thursday, the high 62. A light breeze out of the north will make it feel slightly cooler throughout the day. Nice day Friday, plenty of sunshine, the high moving up to 68. Then a gorgeous early fall weekend. Pleasantly warm on Saturday, plenty of sunshine, the high of 72. Sunday, even warmer with lots of sun, the high up to 77. And quite warm Monday to kick off the new work and school week with plenty of sunshine and the high of 78. Right now, Granby 55, Mansfield 54, 55 in Hartford. I'm meteorologist Jason Caterina in the WTIC Weather Center.
Remember, for all station contest rules, go to WTIC.com/rules.
Hi, Eric Hogarth, Money Wisdom. This week we're going to talk about interest rates and what does it mean? Should I be excited about this, scared about this, or what do I do? Tune in this Saturday at 8:30 right here on TIC News Talk 1080.
Start your day with all the latest sports information. Matt Soroyce has updates from the Cordell and Cordell Sports Desk at 15 and 45 past every hour. Only on WTIC News Talk 1080.
Suicide is something that affects all of us, and we can all play a part in saving lives. Make a difference in your community by walking out of the darkness with us on Sunday, October 20th at Bushnell Park in Hartford. Help spread awareness as well as understanding and send the message that help is available. We'll also raise funds for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. You can register today at afsp.org/CT Capital Area, and then we'll see you in Bushnell Park on October 20th. WTIC News Talk 1080, a proud partner of the American Federation for Suicide Prevention. Out of the Darkness walk. Listen, you don't have to keep living with joint pain. You can get real, lasting relief with QC Kinetics. People are getting their lives back, getting their mobility back, all thanks to QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in cellular therapies that can revitalize your joints. We're talking about advanced regenerative medicine using your own body's healing properties, highly concentrated and carefully placed in those achy joints. Back pain, shoulder pain, knee pain, cutting-edge treatments that have no surgery, no drugs, and no downtime with QC Kinetics. And its quick in-office procedure gets you moving again. Listen, is arthritic joint pain keeping you from doing the things you love? Pain in your knees, hips, back, or shoulder? You owe it to yourself to learn a little more. Make an informed decision before you do something like surgery. Call QC Kinetics today for a free consultation. They're in Avon, New Haven, and Glastonbury. 860-440-PAIN. That's 860-440-PAIN. Again, QC Kinetics, Avon, New Haven, and Glastonbury. That number, 860-440-PAIN.
Do you owe $10,000?
1 minute.
Debt or personal loans? With credit card debt at all-time highs, Debt Relief Advocates is urgently notifying consumers of debt relief now being made available, designed to aid consumers with out-of-control credit card debt. Those who qualify and enroll for this relief program will only have to pay back a fraction of what they owe. This is not bankruptcy or a debt consolidation loan. This is a relief program that credit card companies would rather you not know about, as it ends your debt nightmare and saves you lots of money. Consumers owing at least $10,000 in credit card debt or personal loans can now take advantage of this debt relief as the cost of living skyrockets. Debt Relief Advocates has established a relief hotline for you to call to learn what debt reduction you may qualify for. Wait. For this free information, call the Relief Hotline at 800-525-8448. 800-525-8448. 800-525-8448.
What's up, everybody? You know who it is. You know who it is. It's Reese on the Radio. Frederick Douglass of the 21st century.
It's WTIC News Talk 1080.
All right. It's almost over. The end of hump day. This is the part of the show where I get really, really sad because it's almost over. This day didn't go by that fast. This felt like 3 hours. Nicole is in the chat room. Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate it. Nicole writes, to give a TED Talk, you can submit a nomination using TED Speaker nomination form. TED is always looking for new voices and ideas, and they review every nomination. Thank you, Nicole. I appreciate that. I wasn't sure you were a listener, but you probably just scrolled by and checked out the show, so I appreciate it. What does Celebrate TEW mean? I would love to know. If that's an organization that you're a part of. But thank you again, Nicole, for the info. And I will look into that. I don't think I'm going to do that whole thing about just saying any nonsense, though. If I could really get a TED Talk, I'm going to do something really inspiring. Michael B. says, I want to do a TED Talk with Venn diagrams. Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Michael B. also says, it would demonstrate how the World Economic Forum has the human right to kiss my butt. The more ridiculous you make it sound, the more attention you'll get. Yeah, that's probably true. That is probably true. Again, people talk about TED Talk. I tried to sit through one, and it was just like, okay, this wasn't interesting. There are a couple of that I've actually checked out that were pretty interesting. But when I realized that they would practically give this to anyone, that was when I was like, okay, this isn't serious. It was like, what was it? The head of NPR, I found out that she gave a TED Talk where she was talking about free speech and the news media, talking about objectivity. I thought it was insane. I thought that was really, really weird that she did that. I got two pieces of audio to play before we get out of here. This one first. MSNBC was in Arizona, and they talked to people who had voted early, because they've started early voting down there. So check out what they had to say about early voting.
And I should note, we did not find a single person who audibly would tell us that they voted for Kamala Harris. These were Trump supporters getting out to vote early in the all-important Mojave County. Take a listen to some of our conversations.
Well, the difference is going to be that everybody's coming out early, and everybody that we talked to has made a special effort this year to vote, and you can see it here in the parking lot. You know, this library's usually got 5 cars in it. There's a ton of cars in it now.
Said you voted early for the first time.
For the first time.
Why did you vote early this year?
Honestly, because Donald Trump told me to.
I love it, because Donald Trump told me to. Oh, Nicole Snitchy. I did not know it was that. Hey, Nikki, thank you so much. I appreciate the information on TED Talk. And thank you for joining the show. I didn't even know you were in there checking it out, but you should have let yourself be known early on. I thought that was interesting. Also, I want to play this. Stuart Varney, in fact, Lori, thank you for this audio in this story. Stuart Varney on Fox Business was talking to Bret Baier about his interview, which I believe is already over, with Kamala Harris. This was their exchange.
Who's here now? Bret Baier, the man himself. Bret, congratulations. I bet everyone has been telling you which questions to ask. Am I right?
Just a few. I've been trying to stay off social media. It's pretty amazing how engaged people are. But I asked for questions, and there have been some great ones. At Bret Baier on X and Instagram, Facebook. And there have been some great ones. And we have roughly 30 minutes. I was waiting to hear what the timing was going to be on commercial breaks because of the powers that be. We're going to do it uninterrupted, unedited, straight through. The whole interview, nothing left off, and then we're going to take a commercial break and come back with a panel. So I assume I'll get to a lot of questions, and if you had to guess, Stuart, it's the issues that people tell pollsters are most important that'll factor high.
Well, congratulations, Bret. I'm going to move on from that. Kamala Harris doubled down on her claims that Trump is dangerous and unfit for office. Watch this.
This man is dangerous.
All right, I don't want to do all that. She won't get any burn on this platform. I apologize. My apologies if you were a little worried about that. That's not going to happen. So, of course, we will watch that in its entirety today. It airs roughly about, less than 15 minutes. So we'll check that out and get to talking about it tomorrow. I'll try to have as many clips as possible. I won't inundate the show with Kamala Harris stuff unless it is really worth it. Like, in my view, I'm expecting it to be groundbreaking, because I'm hoping that there is just one of those things that Kamala Harris says that will make the entire world go, oh, man, are you kidding me? Because that would be the one where everybody loses it, you know, where everyone just said, all right, that's it, it's over. Okay, everybody go home. And we can have that joke. I'll have that joke while I'll say, what does Jimmy Graham and Kamala Harris have in common? The one thing that Jimmy Graham and Kamala Harris have in common. For those of you who know Jimmy Graham is, the preacher. Yeah. The one thing that they have in common is they can make an entire group of people go, Jesus Christ. Kamala Harris definitely has that. In fact, here's a perfect example. She did an interview with Charlemagne the God. Listen to this. I thought this was interesting.
President Obama was out there last week waving his finger at black men. When are Liz Cheney and Hillary Clinton going to wave their finger at white women? When are Bill Clinton and Joe Biden going to wave their finger at white men? Because 52% of white women voted for Trump in 2016. 55% voted for Trump in 2020. They all voted against their own interests.
How do you know they voted against their own interests? Now you know what their interests are, Charlemagne? I'm sorry, I almost called them Shyamalan.
When the finger waving going to start at them?
Well, thank you for highlighting that. I do have the support of over 200 Republicans who worked for various administrations, including everyone going back to Ronald Reagan.
Anybody think she's going to answer the question?
And to the Bushes, to John McCain and Mitt Romney, and including Liz Cheney, and I'm very proud to have her support. And I believe that many of them who may have voted for Trump before are supporting me because they know the stakes are so high.
Nope, still nothing.
In terms of our very democracy and rule of law.
So when is the finger waving going to start?
And
So the finger wagging should start today or tomorrow.
well, I think what is happening is that we are all working on reminding people of what is at stake, and that is very important.
So no. 860-522-WTIC. Our last but not least, Bob in Bolton. How are you, Bob?
I'm doing well, thanks, Reese. How you doing?
All right, sir. What do you got for me?
Well, you were talking about the guy, the World Economic Forum guy, and he was saying when you open up a person, all you see is blood.
Yeah, and organs. Yuval Noah Harari is his name.
So it made me think, I used to work on computers. When you open up a computer, you don't see the program. You don't see the data.
Sure don't.
So does that mean that there's no program or data in there? Of course it doesn't. You know, if you go deep enough into and there's DNA, you know, there's evidence of a program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good point. I got some people who are pushing back on me. Listen to this one. I'm not even going to say who it is. He's kind of right. The only rights we have are the ones that we take for ourselves. There's no such thing as inevitable rights. Well, I don't think that that's ever been the case made. That inalienable rights that are given to us by God. We decide if we have rights. They're not given to us. But I think that the idea that we have is that our rights are given to us by God. And he's saying that's fiction. So therefore, because there's no real God, we have no rights. What say you?
I couldn't disagree more. I mean, that's just going to cut out from underneath the foundation, you know?
Yeah, and I think I think that's the whole point here is that he makes the notion of attacking God and heaven and saying those things are fiction to make a broader point about our own existence, that everything that we want for ourselves is made up of fictional stories. And the only thing that's real are the things that we can touch and smell.
You know, and to counter that point, the other thing I would say is when you don't see your niece or nephew or family member for a long time, you remember them as the way they were the last time you saw them.
That's right.
And that, to me, is evidence to the fact that we have a piece of eternal in all of us.
That's interesting. I like that. I like the way you think. I really do like that. That's a very, very good point. Thank you, man. I really appreciate you, Bob. Wait. Okay, we have another last but not least. Mike is in Florida. I'm sure he's got something to say about this, if not something else. How you doing, White Mike?
What's up, my ninja? How are you?
I am fine. What's going on with you?
Wow. So I kind of just got in from work, and I turned your show on, and I caught a little bit of the last caller talking about religion and God in heaven not being real.
Yes.
And the only thing real is what you can smell, feel, taste, and touch.
Yeah.
Well, I am of that mindset as well. Okay. I believe in only the physical and not the ethereal.
Okay.
But I also understand that religion is a great set of rules, especially the Abrahamic religion, for dragging people out of the Stone Age and making them modern and civil, especially Christianity.
Okay.
So it's a useful tool.
Right.
A lot of the things that are forbidden in Christianity are things that if you do, they make society worse.
Okay.
Like coveting your neighbor's wife.
Right.
And stealing and killing and all that.
Right.
You tell people don't do that because God said don't do it, so you don't end up with debaucherous societies full of murdering white rapers.
Why? Yes, I guess that's the way to look at it. But what do you do? What do you make of this? I mean, I read something about him. This guy is Yuval Noah Harari. So he is the anti-establishment Jewish guy. Because he's not just, I mean, he went to school in yeshiva. I understand he is homosexual. And I think that this guy is sort of like an envelope pusher for the sake of. So he's perfect for the folks over in Davos, at the World Economic Forum.
So real quick, I won't get too controversial. Do you want to know why I think the major religions have always said homosexuality is forbidden?
Okay. I'm not going to get canceled behind this, am I?
No.
Okay.
It's not for the reasons people think, like,
Okay.
oh, it's gross. It's not. No. I've had a lot of gay friends in my life.
Me too.
I've kind of been in a circle and met them. There's two partners in a gay male relationship, okay?
Right.
One of them inevitably over years ends up with a medical problem from years of abuse.
Right.
Okay? Nowadays, we can fix that. You can go get surgery.
Right. Of course, sure.
In ancient times, if that happened to you, you just died.
Wow.
And people notice, the leaders, like, hey, half of these guys that are doing this are dying or severely injured, and they're getting these weird diseases. Maybe we should tell them not to do it. Plus the fact that it didn't lead to new people, and, it's not the best for society. But that's my theory, is that they saw the consequences of this, and they said, hey, look what happened to those poor guys in Greece. Maybe we shouldn't do this. Let's say God said not to do it, just like eating pork chops.
Hey, now you've gone sacrilegious.
Well, what Chris Rock said, that, they told people not to eat pork in some religions because pork was an unclean meat and people got sick.
Yep.
So
Well, when it was an unclean meat, you're 100% right.
Yeah, so we tell them God said don't eat the pork. But if you can get a pork chop now, bite that sucker because it's delicious.
Bacon.
Thank you, White Mike, as always. He's a great caller, always. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, never, ever disrespect my pork. Never. My wife was saying the other day, she goes, I miss bacon. I'm like, why don't you just buy bacon? She's like, it's $10. So you just got to buy it. I might buy.
You go to BJ's, you get 3 packs for $13.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to tell you, instead of buying her flowers, I'm going to get her bacon. I'm going to put it in the form of a flower, and I'm going to give it to her. Hey, honey, I bought you bacon. That's what I'm going to do. That's one of my favorite lines in that movie, Stranger Than Fiction, when Maggie Gyllenhaal, the female lead in that movie with Will Ferrell, he comes up with a box of flowers. He says, I bought you flowers, and it's just different flavored flowers. That's one of my favorite parts of that movie. All right, folks, as I always say, radio is free, so we thank you for paying attention. Remember to keep JC in your hearts and in your mind. Sean Patrick, we love you, and we miss you. Remember that panic is not planning, so plan your work and work your plan. Me, I'm Reese on the Radio. You have a good night, pleasant tomorrow. We'll see you back here tomorrow with all the Kamala Harris stuff that we can shake a stick at. He's Mark Christopher in the BPS Traffic Center. Good night, Mark.
Reese, have a great night. Thank you. It's southbound 91 coming into Hartford, delays 33 down to 32.
All right, good sir.
Thank you, sir. This one was slow. We did a slow day today.
Oh, okay.
It just felt slow. It just did.
Maybe it was that midweek.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Because Wednesday's like it's not a call heavy day either.
No, it's not.
Which I like. I like that because then I can just do content.
Yeah, you get to talk shit.
All right. See you tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
All right, folks. Thank you so much. And thank you, Nicole. Really appreciate it. I haven't seen you in a while. Thank you. Hey, by the way, Nicole, before I get out of here, let me ask you a question. Are you in the town of Freeport or something like that? Is that the name of the town? Just let me know. There's a reason why I'm asking. If you could just tell me yes or no real quick. Michael A., thank you, sir. Well, have a good night. Sokolowski. I'm just wondering if that's the town that you're in, Nicole, Freeport. Because then that will explain something for me, and I'm just trying to figure something out. Potter was here the other day, by the way, and checked out the show. Anyway, I'm going to get, wow, it's like 1 minute from, okay, so that's not you. Okay, good. All right, that makes sense then. All right, I love you guys. I will see you tomorrow watching the Kamala Harris thing in less than a minute, and then we'll do all that good stuff tomorrow, and we'll have all the sound bites for you, okay? So make sure, you tune in, and we'll see you then. Love you guys.